I might have fixed the technical problems. Maybe. Let's just see if this is working first before we get stuck into building Pete. Let's just see, we have no delay here, so we should be able to test this quite easily, in theory. Seems to be good. You can hear me, you can see me. You can see the bronze carrot pass, yes. Can anyone see the bronze carrot pass? Can anyone not see the bronze carrot pass? Do I make it bigger so you can definitely see it? There you go. Now you can definitely see it. This is a free tier, by the way, that we've added to Carrot Corner. The idea is to get you away from learn-entertainment algorithms to structure your poker education from the very beginning for free. You can check out after the stream. You can watch 12 videos designed by me to give you the right start to your poker career without just being like, YouTube video, yeah, I'm gonna watch another YouTube video, yeah. Oh, what's this, yeah? Oh, the top plays you can make to destroy, I don't know. Oh yeah, gotta watch that. What's up, guys? In today's video, we're gonna be... This is your life if you just watch YouTube and stuff for learn entertainment, and it's not pretty, you know, it's not pretty, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend. Whoops, that's not the right scene. The menace, where did that come from? I just got my computer back, guys, the other day. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that it's good to learn poker via our shop window on YouTube, because, like, okay, all the videos are good at doing what they're trying to do, I hope, but there is zero structure, absolutely zero, because algorithms are ruling the world. The algorithm wants you to click the next video, and it's like, will I show you the next video based on what's best for your poker game? You need to know about turn probes, so I'll find that Pete Clark video about turn probes and show you that, because you misplayed that hand the other week. Is it a helpful leak finder algorithm? Or is it like, I ate the fattest person in the world's diet for 4 days, look what happened to me? Which are you going to click in that 2-second window? Which of those two things are you actually going to click? No, not what do you want to click, but what are you going to click? Good teacher, says Murav on Twitch. I'm not sure this is good teaching, but I appreciate it. Joseph, hello. Cyrus, hello. Jeb Joe, hello. Chicken Nuggets, 632. I ate 632 chicken nuggets. Look what became of me. Click. Or Poker Apprenticeship, Beginner Blueprint, How Winning Players Think. Choice is yours. I know what I would choose if I want to get good at cards. I know what I would choose. Was surprised you're streaming today? Me too. Me too. But you know what? We're into a marketing, public-facing, fun phase of Carrot Corner at the minute. I have about 2 months until I become a dad to 2 under 2s. Not at the same time, already got one. He's like 17 months old. He was sick over the weekend, actually, and it was horrendous. I was talking to my tech guy, Carl, about this, and he was like, yeah, my cat's sick on the floor sometimes, you know, it's a pain. And I was like, mate, cats are 4-legged creatures. Like, their head is already conveniently placed so that they can just be sick effortlessly. Have you ever seen a cat be sick? It's like this. Click. That's the cat being sick. For us, especially when we're infants, this is horrendous ordeal because we're these upright creatures, right? And we basically nearly die every time we puke, so we're just like... Oh, man. This is us. Cat. Human. Cat. What would you prefer? What would you prefer? So yeah, cleaning that up all weekend. In the bed, on the sofa. I went to a party on Saturday, friend's 40th. Bunch of people I hadn't seen in a while. Let's all have a nice time. Let's get pints, yeah? Let's get pints. Let's get sandwiches and sausage rolls and pints. Yeah. All over me, all over my wife. Wife's like, let's go home. My friend's like, you know, my wife's coming back in a couple hours. Like, you could just stay a bit and then we could take you home in a bit, mate. I'm like, what do you think, wife? And she's like, yeah.
yeah, that would be fine. If you do it, leave me with him, I'll fucking kill you. So I'm like, actually, do you know what? I'll just go home, guys. It's been nice seeing you. You know, I'm gonna watch Cash Injection again for the 40th time. Damn it, Joseph. No wonder you've not spent any money at Carrot Corner recently. 40 times watching Cash Injection. That's probably a bit much. I think twice is probably enough for Cash Injection, no? I know what you mean, though. You do very easily forget the things you learn in poker. Or not that you forget them, but you never knew them as well or as fully as you thought you did, and you were never really able to apply them. Anyway, Fish to Shark, what's going on, Jurgen, my guy? How you doing? How's things? Speaking of Jurgen, before we get into this, before we start building Pete, before we look at pre-flop, flop c-bet, delayed c-bet, before we train in Pio Trainer, before we look up Sims and GTO Wizard, what we're going to do first is I'm going to talk about what happened on stream on Friday. Was anyone there? First off, guys, were you there on Friday? Did you see what happened? Were you in the chat? Were you watching the show where I was coaching Shu? Did you watch the stream? Let's see how many people were there, first of all. See if I need to do a complete update here. If you didn't see the show, it was a toughie. It was a tough show. I'm not gonna lie, it was not fun for me. Chicken Nuggets watched afterwards. The one with Shu, yes. Jurgen's going to Norway next week to go fishing. Fishing champion of the galaxy. Oh boy, was I there. I watched it later. I watched it, so everyone watched it. Okay, so what did you think then? Thank you for the Prime Figure on Twitch. We're doing this in the true style of a stream today. We're hanging out real time, chatting, me and you. What did you think about the way it went? Because for me, it was a bit of a tough show to do. Because I didn't want to sugarcoat anything. And I didn't want to hide the way I was feeling about what was happening. And I wanted the challenge to remain public. This is the continuation of Race to 25NL. And the idea is to continue working with Shu and harness all that natural talent that we saw in the series and try and take her to 25 and 50 NL. And I did some things incorrectly with the player profiles. The player profile, I'll talk about this in a minute, but it's basically a preset character select, like in a video game. Like if you want to play the warrior, you just pick warrior, right? Like in Skyrim. Maybe, or maybe that's all customizable. I don't remember which Elder Scrolls give you which options, but anyway. The problem is when you don't actually understand indifference yet, like you don't know where you're indifferent, you don't see where the genuine forks in the road are, and what forks in the road would just be picking a moronic play over a good one, then it gets a bit hard to actually be the warrior without clubbing yourself in the face with a mace. So my mistake with Shu was giving her too many options when what she really needed was to be on the rails, to be on the straight and narrow. It was a very good, a very astute, I thought, comment under that stream, the video of that stream on YouTube, a very good comment that said something to that effect. Also said that the conversation should have happened privately, which I disagree with. I think it should always happen publicly. What you see is what you get, and you're here for a bit of reality TV, and that's what she signed up for. You know, she's not a paying customer, she's not a client. She is a contestant on a show, and it's a reality TV public-facing show. Friday was very educational, seeing recognizable problems. Seemed the styles were messing her up in the beginning. Yeah, absolutely. I think they've been messing her up for quite some time. She will need good theory for flop and turn when she moves up. She'll need it now, you know. You can't prolong these things. You can't get by on feel. You can't just do things because you have a spade, you know. She was lost and not in place. It felt like she was locked out. Yeah, she was definitely not playing her A game, but I feel like it's so much to do with what your day-to-day is, you know? As the once-a-week coach, there's only so much you can control, and I take a lot of accountability for not giving her what she needed, which was a hyper-simple, you will have only these buttons on your screen, let's fix your hotkeys, let's play just like this. It doesn't matter how you want to play or how much experimenting you want to do, let's just play like this. And that's what I should have imposed early on, because when you build a base game that's just whatever comes to mind, you end up all over the place. And then when you try loads of different base games, but you don't have that understanding yet of what a base game actually is, that's a bit of a problem. So today I'm going to show you how to build a base game, what to do first, how to prioritize a style in different spots that leads you to certain nodes really often, and then how to train those nodes, and we'll do a bit of that today. So the player types are they're base styles, right? They're meant to be when I have the choice, when EV gives me the choice, when I am truly indifferent, I build this sort of toolkit of sizes. I lean this way rather than that, and I intentionally go down X avenue that leads to Y node more often, and then I train Y node frequently. But that's not an easy concept to actually understand, that node selection. Like if you're the warrior in Skyrim, you train smithing, you train athletics, you train blunt weapons, sharp weapons, whatever it is, swords and blades, whatever it's called. You don't train alchemy, you don't train archery, you don't train mercantile skills. Mercantile, how do you say that? I don't know. You don't train speechcraft, maybe, unless you're an imperial. But yeah, anyway, you go down the roads where you're going to build your skills a lot, and your skills take you down those roads a lot, and that's what the styles are. So, for example, what you'll see me do on the flop c-bet node is that in single raise pots in position on nutted flops, I'm building this B200 check that I've been building in Modern Master Plan, which is the Platinum Carrot course I'm working on. Start with bronze, by the way, don't start with that. And the nutted flop is a board like 8-3 deuce or 10-6-4 or King Jack 5. It's essentially double Broadway, not monotone, not paired, not ace high, not king low low. Anything else really, like queen high or lower, or jack high or lower, depending where you want to draw the line. And I play B200 or check, and what that does is it drives me down the road of check really often, because when you play B200 check, you check about 70% of the time on average, right? Because there aren't that many hands that can invest at high frequencies for B200. And if you like facing turn probes, which I do, and you like being on the receiving end of aggression, which I don't mind, and you like delayed c-betting and nodes like that, this is a really good choice. But if you don't like that, and you've never built that, and you've only ever studied range bet, and you really like turn barreling, it's not a good choice, right? So it really depends what you want to do. Is it profitable to go full GTO pre-flop in online live games? I mean, the live GTO, I don't think exists, honestly, because the players in the card room are so far from GTO that you're just never even in a situation that the sims are built for. You know, pre-flop sims, if you look at like Wizards pre-flop live sims, to my knowledge, they involve like not really anyone limping. They're all like fold, raise, have cold calls. The ones that do have cold calls, cold call really tight. Like you're miles away from GTO before you even see a flop. So absolutely not. No. That's like saying, is it okay to play a GTO c-bet range against a complete calling station whale that raises or calls 100% against c-bets? Like clearly that's not okay, right? So you online, you can be familiar with the base raising range, right? And you pick your sizes like I've done here for your character. That's you, by the way. And you learn the ranges. And I've gone for the ones in the Russian Cash Wizard sim because they are replicatable. I can study them. I can go post-flop with the same parameters. That's really the only reason. There's lots of things you can do pre-flop. You can go a bit bigger from these positions, but not too big. You could go up to 3x on button. You could go 3.5 if you really wanted, probably, but I've gone for that. And then what you want to do is learn what are the outskirts of the range. Like, what's the point where the range actually is indifferent? So just to answer this pre-flop question before we go any further, let's say that, hold on, let me grab my wizard here for a second. So if we go back to pre-flop here, right? I just load up this pre-flop base sim that I use. If you familiarize yourself with the button opening range and what the outskirts of it are, and you know, like King 7, Jack 8, 9 8 off, 10 5, roughly that's the sort of indifferent point, then you need to figure out, is that a good spot for me or a bad spot for me? Like, do I make more money from the button or less from the button when I open? And the answer is you make more, because of the lack of polar big blind 3-betting, the lack of check raising on flop, the lack of accurate defense against c-bets, all of that stuff. So because of that, if you're playing live and, you know, God forbid it was like some sort of wormhole into a different universe and it was folded to you on the button and there weren't 17 limps from people with blue moons in front of them, then you would actually just go, okay, well, Jack 7 is just outside the range. A little trick in Wizard, by the way, you put strategy EV on, then you can actually see what it would cost you in theory. 5% of a big blind for me to open this Jack 7 off, so do I make that back when I open against the guy with a blue moon in front of him? Like, yeah, I make it back. Gotta leave $1 tip, by the way, for the waitress shorter blue moon. You got to do that. And the golden nugget, you got to do that. It's frowned upon otherwise over there. You know what I'm saying? So, what good pre-flop really is knowing the lay of the land, theoretically, sorry, and then adjusting the fringe hands first, and then adjusting further than the fringe hands if you think you should. It's a good question. By Suntoast Dev. Why have a style at all? Wouldn't it be best just to play each hand how you think would be most profitable? The thing is, there's many spots where it's not clear that anything is significantly more profitable than anything else, right? So say you're on the flop and you have, let's just pick a flop spot, right? That we'd look at in Modern Master Plan, which is the Platinum tier course that'll be out later in the year. Maybe next year. It's been pushed back a bit, guys. But let's say the board is like 10-8-4 and you have Jack-9. Well, if your opponent's decent at cards, it's not really clear what's best. Like, we play B200 on this board. I need to go AI solve, sorry. But there's loads of sizes that all have similar EV, right? And for Jack-9, it can bet or check a number of different sizes. So it's not really clear in this spot, at least, whether this Jack-9 of clubs, let's say the carrot hand, should c-bet the flop or not. Like, it doesn't really matter. That's at B100, by the way. And if you increase this to B200, again, it doesn't matter whether you bet or check. And you could change the toolkit sizing to B33. The EV there, by the way, is 2.53 of the overbet. That's a range EV. Don't take this too literally. It's not going to translate exactly into your games anyway. But if I change that to B33, look what happens to that 2.53 button range EV. It's going to change. Not at all. Same. So you tell me, like, is it better to go 2x pot, or is it better to go third pot, or is it better to check? Like, it's not clear that there is a path there that's quote-unquote better, but more so it's how the rest of the game tree plays out for you and the nodes you'll get in and how well you play those nodes against the opponent. So the styles thing is a way of a more advanced player or competent player saying, do you know what, I really like the late c-bet and I like making big flop bets, so I'm going to be B200ing or checking here. Whereas like the classic menace approach, I guess, as it were, is just to like range bet this flop and go 100% c-bet, and you can do that and then check if there's an EV loss by that. We saw there wasn't by going B200 check. Does this go down to 2.51 or something? 2.46. So there's a slight EV loss if you start range betting. That's not to say that that's real, that it's going to translate in real life. But the point is that this is a fork in the road, right? You can go lots of different ways in this situation. And that's where a style comes in. It's a way of saying, well, given that I am the warrior, I do just work on my mace skills. I don't go around picking plants and making potions, right? Because imagine you played a game like that. I know it's a weird analogy, but if you played Skyrim or something, or Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon, let's say, a more recent independent scrolls, like, let's say you played games like that, and then you just didn't have a player profile, like you didn't have a character, you were just like, I'll just do whatever I want all the time. That's kind of like weird and not very satisfying. And so I don't think that really works when you get past a certain level. I think you do need to build you, and that's what Building Pete's about today. I'm going to show you how I'm building me using the stuff I've been studying lately, and I'm going to be studying, and we're going to talk about this. So this is what I'm doing, basically, right? You should open 2x everywhere except small blind, even regs overfold to that. There's other arguments though, Bungo Bingo, like how big are you making the pot? It's not just about the overfold you get. Like, you could argue that if people call and you go post flop with them, they're making a lot of mistakes, right? You could say that the button is a really good node. There's other things to it. I don't think it's that simple, but yeah, okay. Like, I'm sure that it is 2x is probably overfolded. At most stakes more than 2.5 is, sure. But then your kings make less money and your skill edge presides over a smaller pot post flop. So I don't know if it's like the full story, but it's definitely true what you're saying. So I don't think Shu fully understood what she was doing with different profiles. I think the bit at the end when you went through what she wanted to do on flop and turn clicked with her, yeah, for sure. I think we got there in the end. We got like a bit of direction. Hey Pete, just want to say thank you for your work that you do. Sorry for the delay in replying to this, Zenith. I started off my journey of taking online poker seriously with your ideas and have expanded. I'm currently beating my pool of 10 and L for 6.77. BB per 100 over 52,000 hands, and I can't express my gratitude enough for you. That's good. That win rate may go up or down a bit more. It may deviate. It may gravitate towards its mean, whatever that is, more, or it may already be there. Be patient. Be curious. Always keep working. Never assume a skill level based on your current observed win rate. Will the new course be using this B200 flop size, and is there value in the course if I don't want to play the B200 flop bit? The idea of the course is that you play what the course wants you to do, and it's only some boards that you do that, by the way. It's only about half of the flops, or just over half of the flops, that you do that, because they're nutted textures, right? I'll talk about that means in just a second, because this is important to understand. The course is probably only good value for you if you're going to adopt the strategy it suggests with single raise pots in position. That's what the course is about. It will make you loads better at poker anyway, but it doesn't make much sense to get it if you're not willing to play the way it wants you to play. It's like an opening repertoire. Like, would you benefit from a book on the Sicilian defense if you weren't going to play the Sicilian defense in chess? Like, not really. That wouldn't be a good idea of a book to get. To be better books you could get. It's the first time I ever said don't buy my course, ever, probably. Hi there, the sim you showed just has 2x button open size range before you suggested 2.5. Really? Oh, you're right, that sim does just have 2. Okay, I guess I'll play 2 then if I'm using this sim, just for simplicity. I don't know, it's not really clear to me what's better, to be honest. Like, I think either is okay. Okay, in that case, if I'm going to use that sim, I am going to use 2. Good spot. I thought that sim had 2.5, but it doesn't. Well, I actually thought it had 2, and then I looked today, and I must have looked at the wrong sim, and I was like, oh, that's 2.5. How weird. I remember it being 2. But okay. Yeah, we'll change that. Let's go 2BB from these positions. Yeah, it's that pre-solved one I was looking at before, and I don't want the pre-solved one. I want this one. Okay, done. So let's talk about what a nutted flop is. So a nutted flop is one where the opponent is very mergy, like has like a continuum of lots of different equities, and most of them are middling. So if you take a board like King Jack 5, right, that's an unnutted flop. Let's bring that up in the solver and talk about playing the B200 check strategy on something like King Jack 5 now. So let's say you open the button, big blind calls. We look at, in Modern Master Plan, we're going to look at loads of positions against big blind. It won't always be button. And we look at this board, and it's starting with a B33 for EV of 2.7, but we're going to AI solve it and change that to B200. This time it's 24%, so it can't really make up its mind. It doesn't really matter that much. If we go B200, this is one of the boards where you do experience some EV drop, I think. Yeah, but tiny, right? 2.71 to 2.69, like basically negligible. If you try to do this on an unnutted flop, by the way, that would be a problem, because on an unnutted flop where we play range 1 big blind, you don't want to pile a big giant bet into the middle, but on a nutted flop you can. So this is a nutted flop because while you have the monopoly on hands like aces, ace, king, king, queen, king, jack, jacks, threes, kings, you have these more than your opponent by far. Your opponent has a lot of mediocre hands here, like jack 8, king 7, king 6, queen 10, queen 9, sevens, 4, 3. And those hands are quite medium equity, right? And when your opponent has a lot of medium equity and you have a big nut advantage, as you see here, you can use that big giant bet if you want to. You don't have to do that, but you can. So when you're building this B200 here, it's a very simple strategy to execute. You have a thick value zone that has to go ahead and bet. And like when you have a hand like aces on this board, you just have to bet, because you unblock a king, a jack, and a load of draws, and you just have a very high investment ceiling across most runouts with this hand. So another thing about nutted boards is that by the river, your one pair will very often still have a very high investment ceiling and want to play for stacks. And so building the pot like this very aggressively early is a good idea. Sorry if you can hear my son wailing. He's in a horrendous mood. He was sick all weekend, and he's like kind of still tired, and he's just hating life at the moment a bit. It's a shame. He's giving his mum hell. She tries to look after him day in, day out right now. Ace 4. Look at this hand, right? This is a bluff. And the other thing to understand when you're building this kind of game plan is that the only hand, realistically, there's two types of hand at pure check. Total trash with awful blockers, like 9-7 or 9-6, and something with showdown value. So if you look at all the pure checks, 90% of them have showdown value, and then a few of them are just like very, very bad blockers. But honestly, there aren't many hands like that here. Even 8-5, as your hand gets more bricky, more blank, it can start to c-bet. It's literally just when you have some horrendous combination, like a 9 and a 6, you block the maximum number of like awful whiffs that can never continue. But don't even worry about that. It wouldn't be a big EV mistake if you bet that hand. What would be a big EV mistake would be if you were to bet with like Jack 10 or 8s. Like if you bet with 8s, like you're basically a moron here. Basically a moron play to bet B200 with 8s. And that's why if you've just started out playing the game and someone says play a B200 check strategy, you B200 8s, that's a disaster, right? And that's why you have to know what you're doing when you build a toolkit like this. So I felt like Shu thought the styles were about bluffing less or more. Yeah, like she didn't really get the idea that some spots are indifferent to start with, and then you can go one way, and then there are other spots where you're not indifferent and you don't get the choice. And like switching between those two things was really confusing her. So we're going to have to just start focusing on hand reading for in-game. And then she's going to have to study and put in some work off the tables, because I need the person I'm working with. Like, put it this way, that slot could be for anyone. And the person who fills that coaching slot, it's not enough to have just won a competition. Like, you know, the race to 25 and L, you need to also be putting in some work. So we need to see evidence of like the theory progressing, understanding more explicitly how the game works rather than just feel, for sure, is what we need. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how the next few Fridays go. Hi there. Oh no, I've read that already. Right guys, new comments please. New stuff. So what do you think about B200 check chat? Like, what do you think about a strategy like that? Does it feel gross for you to play that? Because guess what? It's definitely gross for your opponents to face this. So let's go through it again. You have a value threshold where you have to value bet. That's King Queen. Then you have like some optional value bets like King 10, King 9, King 8, King 7. Then you have your checking range beginning, right? King 4, King 5, King Deuce, etc. Then that spans down into second pair, although there's some weird hybrid second pair going on here when you have Jack 6 and you bet B200. This is a hybrid, meaning you make your opponent fold better and call worse. They call Queen 10, they fold Jack 8, right? If you look at their reaction, the hybrid hand like that's always getting a fold from better, i.e. a better Jack, Jack 10 or something, Queen Jack sometimes, or even a king at some frequency, allegedly, King 5 of clubs. And it gets called by worse, right? Queen 10 calling, you're not getting raised very often when you go for this strategy, so it allows you to just bet second pair and get called, check back turn, go to river, that kind of thing. So there are some hybrids. Generally that's going to be second pair or third pair with a low card, something with backdoors that's vulnerable, and a pair on the board. Usually it's not going to be a pocket pair unless it's a very low one like deuces. Then you have your, so that's a bit of an anomaly of it's an island of a region. It's kind of weird and you need to learn where it is on each board, but it's not, don't rush it. It's more of a gold carrot kind of thing where you don't, until you're in gold carrot, you don't really need to worry too much about hybrids. You can just learn basic polarization. So yeah, then you have your checking median. So all these low pairs, ace high, something like ace 9, ace 8. These hands are surprisingly showdown heavy on dry boards like this that are quite hard to hit. There are some runouts where they are content going to showdown. There's a thing called investment floor that I've just made up right now, this second. Guys, ceremony time. I just made up a new term. Investment floor. What is investment floor? Well, if investment ceiling is how much money a hand wants to put in by the river for value across the average of all runouts, the aggregate of all runouts, I should say, investment floor is how often the hand is happy to go to showdown how often will it have an investment ceiling of nothing? So a hand with a low investment floor is a hand that will be very content not bluffing and just checking all the way down and keeping pot 0. So a hand like ace 9 here on this board just has a low investment floor where it's like very frequently just going to want to go to showdown. I don't know if that's even the right term, but like that's what I'm trying to get across here. If this board was wetter, this hand would start betting more because it would have less showdown across all runouts. Why is ace 10 mixing? Why do you not think it should mix? Let's start with that. Because there's many ways of answering this question, Marius, but if you tell me why your instinct is to either bet it or check it, I think you want to bet it. Maybe you want to check it, actually. I don't know which way your instinct is leaning. But if you tell me which way your instinct is leaning, I can help guide you towards the truth. But first, I want to know which side of the aisle you're on there. Are you wanting to always bet or always check? Let me know. Yorke Terrano says the main downside I see with this strategy is if you play a pool with not enough stats reads, it can get tricky to play the turn probe spots. Well, you do need to have a bit of MDA under your belt, like a bit of Grade E, Carrot Poker School, part of Gold Carrot, or someone that can show you MDA, or like just an awareness of like what spots are overprobed, etc. But I'll give you guys a bit of a sneak peek here at MDA. If the pool leads, for most pools, right, and I mean 99% of pools, maybe there's some exception at some high stake on a bot-infested site or something like that, I don't know. But for most mainstream pools full of humans that aren't that great at cards, but aren't like horrific either because it's not 2NL, what'll happen is that the smaller turn probes will be much, much weaker and more bluffed and weak and just basically underprotected, and the bigger turn probes will be more draw heavy, equity heavy, and big hand heavy. And so against the bigger turn probes, you can just not care. You can just fold a lot of stuff and actually overfold a bit. And against the smaller turn probes, you want to lean towards over defending. And that should be your default approach in any pool. And then you can hone it from there based on your opponent. But you are right that you need to have a game plan for turn probe. If you're going to play B200, you need to know how to face them because you're going to be checking back flop a lot and facing them very often. And that's the point. Hey Pete, are you happy barreling off with bluffs? MDA usually wants a street or two of small bets to get overfolds. So bet's difficult with these C-bets, which I find can make perceiving villains range more guesswork. But it's not really guesswork, you just err on the side. Like, you never know what your opponent has or whether they're going to call you. But if you do go for a really big C-bet here, I take your point, there's less data in this line to support stuff, right? But generally speaking, recreational players and regs that are nitty are going to reach river really strong. And they're probably going to be over continuing from then onwards. So against most players who aren't that skilled, it's fair to say that there'll be an underfold later because hands will just look really good for the most part. So the game plan here is B200, B100, going from flop to turn. And you may well want to err on the side of being value heavy against fish for sure, and against nitty regs that are going to overfold on flop. But against some regs, like, it's fine. You can just revert to balance because they're going to know how to call top pair and fold top pair on turn. It depends on your opponent. But the weak players in the pool are going to swing it towards being underfolded. That doesn't mean it's underfolded against anyone. It just means the weak players are going to push it that way. And there may be some people against whom it's okay to bluff turn and river. But default, give up against anyone that could be recreational after you B200'd if you don't have good redraw implied odds to barrel, for sure. Always bet ace 10. Is your instinct, Marius? Okay. So Marius asked, why is ace 10 mixing? I always want to bet it. It's mixing because the hand has so much showdown value that it doesn't have to bluff, and you can bluff later if you need to. So even 10-9 doesn't have to bluff, right? 10-9 backdoor usually does, but it doesn't have to. It doesn't incur an EV loss by checking. So for any draw that makes a natural intuitive bet, checking back in GTO and bluffing later is also an option. We're not going to take 10-9 to showdown. We are going to bet with it if our opponent keeps checking at some point if we don't hit. And if we hit straight, we're not going to bet if we hit a 10 or a 9. And with ace 10, we're going to check it down on dry runouts and be happy with our showdown value. And we're going to check it down on a 10. And we're going to value bet an ace to some degree. And we're going to value bet a lot with a queen. And we're going to bluff if the runout gets really wet and we don't improve. So if it's like king, jack, 9, 8, 3 flush, we might even be bluffing ace 10 by the river. If we're under the gun here, not big blind, tighter range, then we're definitely bluffing it by river, right? So understanding why this hand is indifferent is to understand that the sim is kind of rigged such that it will play well against the check and well against the bet. Now, you could say of your opponents, you could start coming up with a plan and saying, oh, they play this way, so I'm always going to take this line. But on the flop, I don't think there are quite so many of those against decent players. Against the recreational player, well, it depends on the variety, but if they're the type to mindlessly probe the turn with everything, I like checking loads of these hands out, sometimes c-betting that have high equity and attacking later or calling them, right? And if they're the type to play fit or fold, I lean more towards the line that generates fold equity and denies equity. But that's just a very basic way of deciding based on a recreational player. You came here to comment on the sick background. You mean the one behind me in my new office? Jalderman, how's it going, by the way? Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, this is actually a great office. I just got my new desk built yesterday. By that, I mean my wife like put the legs of it on for me because I don't like building stuff. And then I did the tipping the desk the right way up thing. And then it's huge, man. It's a huge desk. 2 giant monitors. Computer came back from the shop. They fixed it. One of the RAM sticks was broken. They replaced the RAM stick. It was only like £100 and something. Did I mention I dropped a whole cup of coffee into the PC about a month ago? Spent about 4 weeks trying to get this company to pick it up for me so I could get it looked at. And now my wife says I have to drink out of these. Look, I have to drink out of these things now, like camping cups. I mean, they're kind of like upmarket ones, but I'm not allowed mugs anymore. Gone are the days of mugs. Not allowed that shit. No more mugs for Pete. It was a lot of coffee as well, Jalderman. It was a lot of coffee. You're talking about, like, I wonder how you would have stayed calm in this situation. It needed some caffeine, that's right. Would you have meditated and been fine, or would you have been angry if you dropped the whole cup of coffee in your expensive PC? Let me know. Jalderman, let me know. Yeah, the thing is, Yorkie, you don't even need to node lock that much because you can already predict it with data. Like, we just know that when we check back, like, we know how they're going to play. So as long as we've got a good game plan against that, like, we're going to be fine. Adult sippy cup, says Nurgle Pete. Exactly. Exactly. The fact the solver wants to be balanced is really making it hard for a lot of people to understand. If the solver bets even at 15% of the time you bet and check, the EV will be the same. I'm not sure what you mean by the last part, but the thing is, the solver it's not trying to be balanced as its first priority. It happens to be indifferent because it's in an equilibrium with many of these hands. And then balance is like the second priority. It's like the icing on the cake. It's a luxury that it gets to enjoy. That's the way I think about it. That's not quite true in the algorithm, but basically you're in a Nash equilibrium, right? And for many hands, they've been not neutralized, but they've been rendered indifferent by the big blind strategy. And that's a necessary component of being in an equilibrium. So it's kind of like just a priori condition of running a sim is that you're going to be indifferent with lots of hands on the flop. Because if you weren't, it would be a really lopsided spot, right? There are spots like that, by the way, where one opponent folds 90% of range on the river because they've got there with such a weak range. That happens in theory too. So the thing to understand about the strategy when you're building a big c-bet is that you bluff a lot of stuff as long as you don't have like the worst blockers imaginable, and even with that, it's not a big deal. You can bluff. And you have this big checking belt here, and you go from there. So then the most common thing I would study after that is delayed c-bet, right? And plugging in a game plan for that. So delayed c-bet, let's start with single raise pot in position. And we're studying this on after a nutted flop goes check, check, right? So nutted flop goes check, check. And then what is our sizing? So here, what I build is either B100 check or B50 check, depending on the wetness of the spot. So actually, I'm going to put this up here. Single raise pot in position, nutted flop, check, check. So that's the first node I would look at because I'm playing B200 there. And my toolkit for that is going to be on I call it a nut nutted, let's just call it a nutted turn, not preserving turn or nutted turn. Gonna play B100 check now, start making up for some lost ground, getting some value in, still doing a lot of checking, going to a lot of rivers, forcing opponent to play check nodes a lot. And on an unnutted turn, which is like a middle card pairer where they can be uncapped again, or a flush card or a 3 straight low or something, we're going to play B50 check. And that's it. So we have these two, in Modern Master Plan, we have these two game plans depending on the turn, and we get really good at that, right? And then we have a section for facing probe, and we study that, you know, soon into this journey as well. Sorry, I'm not showing the PowerPoint. I was just building this. So nutted flop goes check, check, and then we have a nutted turn and an unnutted turn. This is a way of like breaking down the game tree so that you can organize it and study from most common, most important to rarest. And you never get to the rare ones because the game is basically infinite and you prioritize all of the common nodes first. So let's look at that on this board, how that works. It goes check, check, and let's start with a nutted turn, like a 6, that doesn't uncap the opponent massively. Now, all cards will have some rare uncapping property. In real life, your opponents play like a B75 a lot here. The good regs will play, or even like regs that have studied a bit will play overbet here. And other people might play like a B75 or something like that, right? But it's basically a bad spot for big blind. Button keeps an advantage, and it's going to be given this delayed c-bet opportunity most of the time, in theory at least, right? Less so in practice, because people lead smaller and a bit more often than they should, and a bit more mergy than they should. They don't go for check raises as much. This is so glitchy. So I'm going to put some music on, guys. Not for you, but for me, because the sound of child screeching is getting to be a little bit, not going to lie. There we go. Soothing acoustic guitar. And things are better. Yeah, that's right, Fish to Shark. So the solver will never bet or check when there's an EV loss associated with it. That's right. The solver is never going to do anything that's worse than anything else unless it's a sim accuracy issue. Why not B200, says Marius, for the turn delayed c-bet? Well, the answer to that is that you've capped yourself by checking back flop. All these hands up here that are grayed out now were mandatory flop bets. Sorry, yeah, mandatory flop bets. So now they're never betting. And so now you actually have a nut disadvantage at the very top, or at least it's closer, because what big blind will do in theory is they'll take king jack and they'll check it half the time, or they'll take a set of 6s and just always go for the check raise, unblocking your third pair, polarizing your range with their blockers, going for that check raise. They'll do stuff like this, right? Which means that you're actually not disadvantaged, but range advantaged, which means that B200's a bit weird for this line where you've not bet the flop. It's a bit odd, right? It's not ridiculous. You could build it, but you'd basically never be betting. So now we bet our top pair, we bet our very best second pair at a push, and then everything else is a check. And then we have our bluffing range, which again, because this is quite a bricky turn, ace-8 has quite a lot of showdown here in late position, so our bluffs start about ace-5, ace-4. And this is where we want to learn roughly where those thresholds are. But what I think is funny about GTO is that like it's so customizable. You can build a toolkit and then look at the GTO, adapted GTO for that. And that's pretty cool. Watch bronze carrot, buy silver carrot. I like that. I like that marketing. Thank you for that. Best way to study poker as cost efficiently as possible. Yeah, but silver carrot is in my mind the best way, because even though you have to pay money for it, like it's a completely structured academic poker education. So yes, it's my product. I love it. It's my baby. I care about it passionately. I care about all the stuff on Carrot Corner. But that would be my answer. Even if this is someone else's site, I'd be like, God damn it, why didn't I make Carrot Corner? Bronze Carrot first, though. That's free if you want to check it out. So yeah, I mean, what we can do now, guys, is we could try a bit of pile drilling, which is quite a fun way to go. If I can find my... Where the hell is my pile solver on this computer? It's been a while, guys. Sorry, bear with me. So I'll show you how to drill some of these nodes, because I actually set up some drills. If I can find them. Where's my Modern Master Plan folder? It's been a while. Got neglected for a while, Modern Master Plan. We'll be back on it in the fall, in the autumn. MM Drills, Volume 1. Here we go. Episode 2, B200 or check. Can actually pull this up here. My Pio stuff. Been a while. And then tools, GTO trainer. And then episode 2. Should we start with... Let's start with flop then. See if I can get this looking good for you guys. I've got my Modern Master Plan skin on my Pio trainer. Wait till you see this, guys. Wait till you see this. Modern Master Plan skin. Go live with this bad boy. Pio trainer. Let's bring this up here so you guys can see it. Pio trainer. Boom. All right. So basically, it generates a spot. Pre-solved a bunch of stuff, and we practice B200 checks. So Jack 9. This is something you can do just to get really good at the toolkit that you're crafting. Today, I'm not playing any cards, so I'm just showing you how this works, and I'm going to build this more and more. I'm kind of doing a bit of revision here, building stuff I've already built and showing you how it works, but I'll actually be training on stream over the next few months. I want to be live for you guys a bit more, and we'll do some stuff like this. So I'll turn these off because these are kind of a cheat. I'll explain what these are in just a second. But basically, this hand can bet or check, but on a 31, I think we're going to be betting. And it's 50% bet. That's more than global. Global is how often your range bets on average. Some hands bet less than that, like 7s that bets never, or King 10. And some hands bet more than that, like Ace Queen, or a set of 8s, or Jack 9, right? So is a hand betting more or less than global? That's another way that you can make sense of this on the flop. And that's not like a magical thing you have to get right. It's just training your range awareness. It's just training this node so you can do it effortlessly. Ace 10 of spades on Jack 7-3 then, guys. So this is a worse board for your range with a lower global frequency, right? And you have to decide when you're playing B200 or check, do you want to bet or check this hand? So what do you guys think about Ace 10 of spades here? What do you guys think? As you're answering that, I'll read some comments from earlier. Take the carrot school if you want to learn theory. 100%. That's part silver carrot to begin with, and golden when you want to access grades 2, 3, and E. Oh, he's terrified of the Hoover. Have I been chasing our son with... Have I been chasing him with the Hoovers? Yes, guys. Have I been chasing him with the Hoover and terrifying him? Do I seem like the kind of guy that would torment a 1-year-old to you, chat? What do you think? Do I? Would I chase my son with a Hoover just for kicks and make him terrified of Hoovers? I think he's traumatized from his illness, to be honest. Like, it was a pretty traumatic vomiting bug he had. I'll read some stuff in chat while you guys answer this. I've had several subscriptions on other sites before, and you learn nothing structural. Thank you, Fish the Shark. Appreciate that. I've had poker coaching off and on for a while, but feel it's too expensive for the stakes. That's it. It is expensive. Like, coaches charge a lot because they need to have a high hourly because it's not scalable to sell coaching. That's why my hourly is like £250 because it's something that I will only do if it's really, really worth it for me, right? Because it costs a lot. Because it's not scalable and it costs a lot of my time, I mean to say. So yeah, that's why I made content that I could, you know, record once and scale and market and sell, because it's way better value for you guys to get bronze carrot for free than it is to get coaching or to get silver or gold. It really is. I agree, most other poker coaches are not great. Carrot School is best. With other coaches, they just tell you to copy their frequencies because they're not teachers, you know? There are good poker players that are not teachers. That's really common. And people make the fatal mistake of thinking, oh, this guy doesn't play poker regularly at all, so he's not the one I need. I need someone that's grinding day in, day out. But if that player can't really teach you very well, that's an issue. If they're just like, hey, bro, watch me play 200 an hour, or hey, bro, do this, here's the list. If they say bro, just don't hire them in the first place, right? Like, why would you work with someone that says bro? I don't understand. I get it. Get it. Anyway, you guys want to check ace 10, yeah? You guys want to check? Check, 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 check. Yep, absolutely check. Absolutely check. The further from playing I've gotten, but more into coaching I've gotten, the better coach I've become. You just use gotten and twice in a sentence. Props to that, Jared. Props to that. I know what you mean, though. I know what you mean. Sometimes when you're playing, you think what you're saying makes sense to your student, but it doesn't until you've done like hundreds of hours with people off table. Like, then you realize what level a lot of them are on. You have to pitch to that level. Anyway, so if you B200 here, is it okay? I'm going to say no. It's a pure check, and it's a punt to B200. Why? Because your hand's way too mediocre. It's a super good mediocre hand, and it's very, very good to check, right, in this strategy. So that is a check. Well done, chat. Not even check most of the time, but check pure. Check pure. Okay, what about this one? Ace 7 with a 7 of clubs. Is this a bluff? What do you think? Better check. Better check, guys. I'm not looking at the answers. I'm playing along with you. Building Pete here. Building that statue that you saw in the thumbnail. That's what we're doing. Chiseling and carving away. Little carrotlings all climbing all over me. Placing blocks left, right, and center. It's a terrifying proposition. It could be a die, son. I get it. It would be a polarization error, TY on Twitch, to bet that hand. It would be. This one feels close. I agree, this is close. So I think ace 4, ace 5, ace 6 are definitely betting, and I think with the ace of clubs we're betting. I think ace 7 is sliver or none. Sliver. Yeah. I would just check it because I wasn't sure it had any bet. And I thought it'd be sliver at most. So if it's sliver at most, you just check, right? Then you look it up. That's fine. Ace of clubs, though, it's going to bet. For sure. Ace of clubs gets nutted more often. Blocks raises, blocks calls, increases fold equity, increases confidence, increases muscle mass. Ace of clubs is good. It's like eating loads of spinach. It's very good for you, ace of clubs. It's the maximum greens. When I've made that thumbnail, by the way, for today's thing, it had a sign. The carrot people that were building the sculpture of me erected a sign in AI world, and it said, safety first, no greens on site. So the carrot people were being tribal. So it's built into the AI's algorithm to make the carrot people tribal and to make them not want greens on site. You know, if this was humans and we did something like that, we don't get green humans, right? But if you did and I said no greens on site, I don't think that would go very well for me. What do you guys think? Don't think it would go very well. Not at all. But it's okay for the carrot people to do it, according to AI. So our decision to B200 or check should mostly depend on the flop, our hand, or both at the same time. Both at the same time, yeah. You have to develop the innate skill of looking at your hand and assessing which compartment it's in for the flop in question. So here is your hand thick value must bet like king, jack, or pocket threes or aces. Is it thin value can bet like king, queen, king, 10? Is it showdown value must check like queen, jack or something, or sixes? Or is it bluff territory like ace 5 or queen 9 or something like that? So you have to do both. Then when it comes to playing against a net or recreational or reg, there is a fish sort of hack to this strategy, whereby when you're playing against a fish, what you can do is, well, dial down the bluff sizing because of elasticity, basically, right? So you're basically saying, not that they'll react exactly the same to pot and 2x pot, because that's just not true over a big population, but that there won't be a big enough difference in fold equity so you can size the value up further than the bluffs against someone that's not thinking, right? If someone's not reacting to your sizing, you want to bluff lower and value bet higher, right? That's just normal. You have to, it's not so much about having top kicker for burgers from like an absolute hand strength point of view. It's more about like what you unblock, and you unblock more bluffs when you have an ace with ace jack than when you have like jack 9. But yeah, okay, you can think of it that way. But I'd imagine ace jack is indifferent here to B200, and I'd imagine it's mostly calling. And I'd imagine that, well, we can actually look. You can actually go control O here and open up the sim. God, that screen is so wide. I'm used to seeing my laptop screen over there. It's so bizarre. So we have a solver here as well somewhere. Let me grab that for you guys. So then you can say, well, what happens if I B200? Ace jack's meant to mostly call, like jack 9's meant to fold, right? That's their reaction. It's a min raising range pre, by the way, so it's a very wide big blind range, but that's their reaction. Look how much top pair they're meant to fold to B200. Sometimes people are like, yeah, there's no point in B200ing, because they'll just fold. And it's like, really? You think they'll fold that much? They're meant to be indifferent with a bad king. Like, really indifferent. Unless they have a value chopper like King 10, they are meant to just be mixing fold anyway with top pair. That's wild, right? Especially on a two-tone board where straights and flushes will be possible sometimes by river. That's where more top pair folds, but Queen 10 or something would never fold, right? Ace 10 is ostensibly, like, with a club, a better hand EV-wise than King 4. Not head-to-head, but against this strategy. It's better to have Ace 10 with Ace of Clubs than to have King 4. Or even King 9. King 9's the worst king. King 9 of Spades is a pure fold. Do you think people are getting that right? I don't think so. So this bamboozles the pool for sure. When you look at the reactions, it's pretty clear how. Hey Pete, will you ever do more stuff on PLO? Absolutely not. I just don't have time, I'm sorry. I'd have to clone myself right now. I've got to just work on the company. I've got to work on getting loads of people into the company, being public facing as much as possible, marketing, content, all of that. I just can't. Do you coach tournaments? I don't coach tournaments. I was thinking about making like a tourney carrot at some point. Would you guys like that? If I got like tournament people in and made a really good like tournament tier, maybe. Pete, will you teach me poker? I'm in Run It Once. What do you mean you're in Run It Once? You mean you're a member of Run It Once? You're a coach in Run It Once? You're the owner? Is that Phil? Phil, is that you? What do you mean? Hey, Phil. Hey, Phil, what's up? What's up, bro? All right, Jack 10, let's do some cards. What you want to do? Oh, you love my course on Run It Once, thank you. That course is outdated now in my mind. That's why I made Carrot Corner, because it's the more modern, theoretically permanently accurate. You're a member. Okay, no worries. I'm not affiliated with Run It Once anymore. I didn't fall out with them or anything. I just focus on my own company now, just so you know. So Silver Carrot is the next level up if you've done that, by the way. But it's also Bronze Carrot's your starting point, then Silver. If you're doing from the ground up, there's zero overlap with Silver Carrot, so don't worry about that. Aubergine Avenue is good, yeah. It's Friday night on Twitch, it's good. You've fallen in love with the game, Justin, that's good to hear. So we can check this one, yeah? You guys all want to check? Is this a weird hybrid? Could this be a weird hybrid? Like, what if we bet 2x pot, and what if we could improve to trips and 2-pair and flushes and villain can fold a6? Just humor me here. What if villain can fold a6, call with worse sometimes, like 10-9? What if this was a hybrid, guys? Would you think I was crazy? I'm gonna check. But look, it has a sliver. It is a hybrid, I was right. I was right, I said it first, I know, I was right. You see that? I was right. You see that? You see that? I was right. It's a hybrid. I told you it was a hybrid, and it's a hybrid. I knew it was a hybrid. Funny how poker works, huh? Ace-6. Is this a hybrid? Everything's a hybrid. You can do whatever the hell you want. Definitely get the Bronze Carrot, though, first, before you do anything. Just be safe. Check or bet? I think the ace is kind of a checking card. 6-5 I would bet here. I think ace-6 I'm usually checking. It wouldn't shock me, but I think check. God, it's got a sliver again. It's indifferent. Okay, so I'm missing some of these. I am missing some of these. I didn't think that one was going to bet. I thought Jack 10 was. I didn't think that one was going to bet. There's more of these sliver bets than I thought. This one could be a hybrid as well. There's so many hybrids, guys. Good check on a 55, but there's so many hybrids like that again. There you go. Hybrid, you get called by worse, you get better to fold. There's so many hybrids when you play B200, it's pretty cool. Okay, this one is probably a check on a 73. It's such a frequent bet, but 73 is really high. As Doug Poke often says, yeah, we can do some folding, some calling, and some raising. Doug Poke has become like the overlord of indifference. Everything is now indifferent because the solver says it is, right? Happened to you, Doug. What happened to you? Why do we have 9 big blinds in a single raise pot? Because it's 1-2 structure. It's not 9 big blinds, it's 9 chips. Sorry, I should have explained that. My pile structure is weird. So can we check on a 73? The answer is probably, because like no hand, yeah, 68%. See, no hand is betting like pure here when it comes to bluffs. Some of them are near pure, but even that's going to do some checking. That's a really high bet frequency, right? Because global's like 30%, 28% or something. Okay, now we have a pure check, guys. Now we have a pure check. Boom. No hybrid there. Nines is just too high up, too showdowny. King Jack, going to be a pure check. Mistake the bet, but not a huge one, actually. King 8. Right, guys, I want to throw this one to you. King of Hearts, 8 of Diamonds. If you get it right, you win a free bronze carrot. It's free anyway. Yeah, bozos, it's free anyway. I don't think it is easier, Indian Summer, for an opponent to react to bigger bets. I think it's harder. I think it's harder. Because people know how to handle a B33 on the flop these days. Like, maybe a priori it's easier, I don't know. Maybe that's not even true either. But with what people have seen and what they're accustomed to, it's definitely not easier for most humans to handle a small bet. That's like me saying to you, is it easier for you to wash a plate in the sink or to dig a tunnel? And it's like, well, I've washed a plate in the sink loads of times, so I know how to do it. I haven't dug a tunnel ever. I don't know how to do that. So yeah, but if you ask someone that had spent their life digging tunnels and never seen a plate, it just depends what you've seen. That's a terrible analogy. I could have done better there, guys. I'm sorry. I'll hang my head in shame. So King 8, you guys want to bet? You all want to bet? Yeah, I want to bet too. You got the King of Hearts. You got some backdoors. It's a 30 for us. It's a clear bet, guys. Well done. Clear bet. 85% bet. Anyone wants to check that? Because in this spot we have better bluffs. Shame on you. You don't deserve. You don't deserve to play the game. Next, Queen 9, no heart. What's it going to be, chat? Queen 9, no heart. We're going to switch node in a minute. We're going to go to some delayed c-betting. And we'll go to facing probe. We'll do the whole ensemble of the single raise pot today. Come on, let's do this. Queen 9. On a 90, we're going to check, obviously, but how high is the bet frequency for this hand? I think it's like global. Because like the jack is nutty here. They don't have that much ace queen. They have a little bit of ace queen, maybe, if it's one of those weird sims where people don't 3-bet it. Blind versus blind. I can't believe people pay this guy to talk lol. Worst poker coach in poker industry. That is a pretty bold statement, Mr. Danke. Do you know how many awful coaches there are in this industry? That is a bold claim, man. That's hurtful. That's very hurtful. Because there's that video. What's the guy's name where he talks about smooth calling and he's just like drinking a whiskey and he says how he smooth calls kings and 6-5 off and 6-4 off. What's that called? It's him. He's doing coaching in that video. So you think I'm worse than him? It sucks. Painful thing to say. God. And they're not paying me right now, by the way, guys. We're just here hanging out. No one's paying. Just goes to show how bad you are. What is that? I'm the worst coach in the industry? That's a tautology. So the fact that I'm the worst coach in the industry... Oh, I see. You're reacting to what I'm saying. Right, okay. So I must be really, really bad then. Yeah, okay. Got it. Cool. Cool. Almost pure bet with Queen of Hearts. Probably mix the other ones, leaning towards bet. What's the benefit here? Says TH in applying, say, B75 versus B200. I appreciate the villain may not know defending frequencies, but this can also be negative, as hard for us to navigate. Yeah, so you don't just embark on this willy-nilly. Like, you embark on this if you're going to study the nodes that come from it, right? So if you're going to study facing probe, if you're going to study delayed c-bet, if you're going to study this, then you should do this. And if not, you shouldn't. What you shouldn't do is just start doing this, not study it. But the idea is if you study a type of spot and your opponent hasn't, because they haven't, right? We know that for sure, basically. 99.99% of the time they've not studied this, and you're in your wheelhouse, your turf, your territory, right? And now you make way less mistakes, so you prepare it. You don't just go down it without thinking. Mr. Danke's probably the guy you're talking about, Pete. I don't think so. He's like a famous guy, or at least he was famous at some point. I don't think Mr. Danky's famous. He seems too, I don't know. Seems too much like a troll to be famous. No trolls are ever famous apart from, yeah, no trolls are ever famous apart from Airball, but he's not even really that much of a troll. Or Doug Polk maybe, but he was famous for something else, then became a troll. You don't just like become famous as a troll. You have to adopt trollhood later in your career. So I think we're going to check on a 90, but I think the bet frequency of this hand is going to be like 37, 48. Okay, it's a bit higher. It's actually higher than global. Gavin Smith, thank you. Gavin Smith, thank you so much. That's it. That's it. That's it. Some of these 50s regs will have a meltdown. Well, that's the point. You're taking them out of their wheelhouse. You're making poker fun. You're doing something you want to do. That's the point of Modern Master Plan, right? It's to play a repertoire of your own familiarity. Ace 4, clearly quite a high frequency bet, but not 73. I think 65% bet or something. 12% bet. Wow. This board is very, very brickish, so seeing this hand is just like more showdown than I was. That makes sense though. Martin Kubrell was a poker player first, like a very good tournament player first, and then a troll, right? Like, he just happens to be a troll. No one becomes famous because they're a troll. Because it's just not a likable trait. It's just very dislikable. So no one becomes famous. Like, if you have the attitude of that person there that was like, you're the worst in the industry, and then you just come on a stream and say that, like, what kind of person are you in real life? You're probably really dislikable. No offense, but you probably are very dislikable. And, you know, 99% of people that are really dislikable don't get anywhere because the world kind of has a way of stopping them from getting anywhere. It's kind of how it works, man. You've got to be really likable like me, you see? If you want to be successful, you have to be very, very likable, Mr. Danky. I can show you if you want for £250 an hour how to do that. I can show you, Mr. Danky. We can do some likability coaching. Charisma, that's called in RPGs. Charisma. Your charisma stat's low, we can make it higher for $250 an hour. In fact, I want more than my normal hourly if I have to work with you. I want $350 UK pounds. Not euros, you bozo. UK pounds. Look up the conversion. Look it up. Alright. So telling someone they suck at their job is trolling? I guess not. I guess it's just the abrasiveness to just show up and just say that. It's just a bit, it takes a special kind of human, I think. My rate is $250 now. I don't do much coaching though, but that is my rate. It's okay, Danky. We've established that you wouldn't pay it. It's okay. A6. What do we think? Mainly bet with the spade and check without. Let's switch node in a second, guys. I think this hand can definitely do some betting on this board. The back there's the 6 of spades. It's not going to be much betting, but on a 7, maybe just some, yeah. Okay, it's a lot more betting than I thought. Okay, let's go to a different node now. Was I showing the wrong window there? No, I was showing the right window. That's just popped up. Right, let's go to... GTO trainer. Delayed c-bet on unnutted turns. Kind of want to do the nutted ones. Let me just see what this one is, guys. Okay, so this is delayed c-bet. This is the node you're going to be in all the time if you play like I play on these boards and you check back a lot. Ace of spades will also be a bet, yeah, absolutely. The thing is, like, the low kicker aces, like, they're just not... They benefit a lot from fold equity, right? They're very vulnerable when they are best, and they do make a lot of better hands fold, and they have the overcard. to everything. Like if it's king high board, for example, and you have an ace, like you forget that, but you have an overcard. Anyway, ace king here. So now the standards are going to be a bit different. You're going to be headed towards showdown with more hands. You're going to have a lower bet. You have a fairly low bet frequency on this node, and you're going to reopen for 100 or check. So this one is going to check. It's a pretty easy one to start us off. Pocket fours. You're going to start bluffing. What do you think? Are we going to start bluffing with pocket fours? Is this a check? Is it a value bet for pot? I think I'm good here. I put him on queen and queen 8 here. Basically, you bet your strong hands and bigger bluffs. You bet most of your bluffs on the flop. Most of them at a decent frequency, but you like bluffs are optional bets on the flop. That's the best way to understand it in theory. You can bet them, or you can wait until later and bet them, but you bluff at some point. What hardware are you on to be able to run Pio? It's a pretty good PC. I don't know the specs, but now it's come back from having coffee all over it. It's got 128 gigs of RAM. It's got... I don't even remember, man. It's got a good processor, let's just say. It's a really good processor. It's a really good PC. I invested heavily in it because I wasn't intending on spilling coffee all over it. Anyway, fours. I'm guessing this hand drops considerably on showdown value on the jack. It wouldn't surprise me if this was bettable now. But I actually don't know. It is bettable. See, when I think something is bettable, I should just commit to it being bettable. Instead of being like, I don't want to get told off by the solver, but I think it might be. Like, we're checking on that number, but like that is a bluffable hand. That hand is dropped now in showdown value. Important to see that, right? Like on the jack, you would bet that, but on the 3 you wouldn't because it drops in showdown. Very, very important note to understand. Because you actually have to adapt to the fact that your hand is now degraded. Trip queens. Oh, we're facing a probe, guys. I forgot to tell it not to probe. That's fine. We can play facing probe as well on this node. This is another thing we face. To be honest, you don't face this very often on this card, but clearly we're just calling our hand, right? We're never doing anything else. Ace jack, and we face this. Can we raise, or is this hand too rich in showdown? I like this drill. This drill is giving us everything. This is actually a good drill. Check out the bronze carrot, by the way, if you're just joining us. This is free. I added a free tier to carrotcorner.com. Check out, go for a structured poker education for free with the bronze carrot. We had a pop-up on, by the way. We've now fixed it, but it's quite funny. It's a pop-up that comes up that tells you, like, upgrade to silver. In April, there's a little upgrade deal if you've got bronze, right? And use code April, and you can save 15%, by the way, on silver carrot. I'll tell you guys anyway, just in case you're listening. But it was popping up being like, as soon as they got bronze carrot, which is free, it would be like, get silver, code April, like right away. Instantly. Like, it was like literally the landing page for the purchase of the free product. It was like, buy silver carrot. It's like so obnoxious. So my tech guy alerted me to this today, and we put on a little buffer. Anyway, call or raise. So what you always want to ask yourself in these spots is, how many better hands can I make fold? Like, if you raise here, how often is villain just got like king 8 or something he's going to fold? And the answer is sometimes, right? There's definitely some better hands we can make fold here. What are our bluffs going to be? Because we do have a value raising range here. We've got a couple of raise sizes. This seems a bit weird with the R60 and stuff here. This isn't actually the right drill. Keeping their bluffs isn't such a great thing, Jorge, because like you can't guarantee that you're going to get to showdown in one piece, and they have value hands too. So keeping the bluffs in here, I don't think that's a particularly great reason to not raise. Because you want to think about fold equity from better as well, right? I'm going to call in a 44. And I think this is probably just a call. Oh, it is a raise a bunch of the time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's plenty of better hands folding. Some worse calling as well, actually, come to think of it, right? Maybe there's some bet call going on with the nut flush draw. Yeah, makes perfect sense. It's actually like a hybrid. Must be. Must be a hybrid, right? This one, it's been a while since I studied this node. By the way, I do a lot of raising in this node against small bets in pool, right? So regardless of what the solver says here, this R60 is going to be pretty good against humans of like 25 NL, 50 NL, 100 NL. It's going to be good because they're going to lead a lot here. And you do want a raising range in this spot. What's the raise frequency going to be for King 7? It's a nuttish straight draw. It doesn't have a diamond. It's going to be something. I don't think it'll be as much as 49, but it's going to be something. Yeah, like 20%, okay? 8-5, B100 or check. What do you want to do? How many cores does it have? It has a lot of cores. I don't know the number. I don't know what the currency of cores is. I'm sure I picked lots of cores. I was like, lots of cores, like when I was buying it. So I quite like Bet here. I'd recommend Bet here against humans for the reason that they are not good at putting better draws that dominate you in their checking range, and you can just make a ton of... With a pot size Bet here, you can make like a 9-fold. You can make a hand like 9-7 full tier, in theory. You can make like Jack 5 full tier, in theory. This might actually be weirdly underfolded from the one pair. Like if villain has ace 10 here, and you pot, they might not realize that ace 10 is not that good now. But then again, they're going to just have more ace high, so bet's really good. So I would always bet, in theory, in practice, sorry, in theory it's going to be a mix. But I would always bet, because I think that even if they do get a bit sticky with some ace 10, they've probably led too much of their queen 10, king 10, jack 6. Like, people just lead too often with these hands. And then what happens is that they end up with just too much air. Right, which might mean that smaller sizing is even okay, like if you want to go that way, but whatever, we're playing B100 check today. So if we bring up the solver here, we can see that we are indifferent with that hand, but if we bet here, yeah, ace 10 is a straight mix already, ace 9 is a straight fold. I think it, like, those hands will get sticky, but villain will land with like too many combos of 5s is what's going to happen, and so bet's going to be really good, and you're going to get raised less than 5% of the time here, I think, if you pot it. I think it's going to be like 2%. It's going to be pretty rare. A 6 facing B75. I don't really want to reopen with this one. Feels a bit weird to reopen with this hand. Maybe it's okay, but just call okay. That's what I thought. I'm going to start committing a bit more. I'm going to be checking this one. Okay. Going to be mixing here. I don't think ace 7 is too good on this node. Is it too good? It's quite unnutty, actually, in terms of the draw. Is it too high up? In real life, like, villain's going to have... I think check might be better in real life here. It's just a pure check, okay, but there's not much EV in it. But I think check's better in real life because they have too much air, which increases your showdown, and they're likely to underfold like an 8 without redraw or something like that. I think this is a pure fold on this board. I can't see the 7 with no redraw being a call against overbet, but like these pairs on the board are quite good, but on 3 flush, I think we have to just pure fold this one. Oh, it does actually call, 31%. Wow. Does actually mix. I mean, like, that pair on the board is just, the solver loves it. Like, there, I'd be quite terrified against pool. Although if it's an aggro reg, they can overbluff there. There's so many draws as well. But I'd be a bit terrified at lower stakes on that board. Can we bluff 5s? Really low in our range, right? We bet, if you think about it, we bet a lot of our like 10-9 and Queen 7 already. A lot of our 4-5 and 6-5. So this hand is quite low. And I don't think there's anything wrong. If you have a club here, I don't think there's anything wrong with betting this. Let's see if we can bet with 5s with a club, because I think we might be able to. Not that it's a huge deal, right? And I would never urge you to care that much about this sort of thing. Okay, no, you don't. It's closer in EV though, but you don't. You do bet 3s with the club though. Okay, so just starts a bit further down. Fair enough. Bet 3s with the club. 9-6. Guys, this is a good one for you. Have a go at this one. Have a go at 9-6 of hearts, guys. What do you think? What do we think about 9-6? On turn flushes, I don't think it bets many non-spades. I think in delayed c-bet node, you'd be surprised. It's a pretty favourable node. Jam, maybe a bit rich for my blood. I'm trying to think of a good example of an absolutely non-spade hand that might bet here. an absolute non-club hand that might bet here that's just got nothing. Like 4-5 of spades, maybe? I feel like the 9 of hearts is not such a good one for it, but I want to show you that, like, that one does check, but I want to show you some hands that do bet that are non-spades. Yeah, like 5-4 of hearts. Let me show you. So these hands bet, right, because they're on blocker. It's just a 9 it doesn't like to have. It wants to stay away from like these dangler cards that block a lot of folds, but as soon as your cards are staying out of the way of their folding range, they're like lower, you're going to be betting. So it's not about having the flush draw there. Don't let your eyes trick you. That is the common human trap. Is that people think that they need a club to bet this turn. You don't. You just need either a straight draw, flush draw, or good unblockers. And this hand has neither, so it gives up. Like this hand, for example, will be doing some betting. It's got a gutter. It's not got a lot of showdown. It'll check on that roll, but it'll be doing a lot of betting. Yeah, because it's got something and it has a very low check EV. Very low check EV. So when you're betting, remember you're arriving here with a surplus of fold equity because your opponent's range sucks. And so you're going to be doing some betting with these hands. This is the core principle here. If you're going to play B200 check on flop, you need to make sure that you're not being too nitty on turn with delayed c-bet. You can see how much betting there is in these nodes. This hand's mediocre though. This hand is... If you're playing... See, I play B50 here. I've not programmed the right sim for this. But if you're playing B50, you can check this. I think you can probably bet this at B100 as well, for sure. Bets 34% of the time. You can go either way. Pure calling this one. I'm not going to be raising that combo for any reason. Queen 4. Good one for you guys to get your head around. You'll be betting this a lot, right? Because you'll be betting queen high because it's low in showdown. And that's all you need. You don't need equity in a node that's rich and fold equity low in showdown. We saw this on flop. It's still true on turn. So you'll be betting that hand a lot. 49%. Is it lowering your standards? Well, your showdown will be very sensitive to the turn cards. So on certain turn cards, you're going to be turning things into bluffs that wouldn't be bluffs on flop. And on the wetter and on the drier turn cards, you're going to be just taking showdown. So basically on the flop, you're at this fork in the road, right? Where the board's either going to run out in a way that increases your showdown value or decreases your showdown value, and you don't know which yet. So on flop, it's kind of like in between. But then on turn, either your showdown value goes up or down based on the turn card, and then you have to recalibrate. So it's like comparing apples and oranges. If you don't know what the turn is yet, that's you standing from the point of view of the flop and looking forward in the game tree. And when you get to the turn, you've seen what's happened to your showdown, and then you react, right? And you bluff the stuff with less showdown now and check the stuff with more. Like, have a look at this, right? On the flop, 10-8 had no showdown at all. But there were many, many runouts where it was going to have a lot of showdown or even value. And then we hit like a middle of the road card. And the question is, like, can we bet this? I don't think so, personally. Oh, wow. It's like a hybrid. It's like a straight bet hybrid. Gets called by enough worse. Okay. Oh, it's got the straight draw as well. Okay, fair enough. So I had no idea about that one, guys. That's the first one that actually genuinely got me. $10-80 clubs is just too high EV. It's like a pure value bet almost. So the 8 there, while it's showdown, the hand has so much equity from other sources that it just bets. It's probably a hybrid as well, because like, look what villain's folding. Let's have a look here. They're folding a bad 9, right? They're folding a good 8 sometimes. So they fold better hands en masse. And that is what I missed there. I have to remember these hybrids, man. Because it's not that difficult. Like, here's a good example, right? Queen 5 had no showdown on the flop, and it was likely going to have no showdown on most turn nodes as well. So it bet a lot on the flop, but when it checked, it would now check a turn that gave it showdown. So it would check a queen or a 5. But on this turn, it's now confirmed as no showdown. So it's going to bluff frequently. Like, maybe not at that roll, but it's going to bluff quite a bit. All you need to know is, like, where is it optional for you to bluff and where do you not want to bluff? And the thing is, in this node, it's very overfolded by pool. This is one of the hottest of hotspots. And you need to also know, when you're building a game plan, like, where the hotspots are. And because this node is such a hot one, you're going to be wanting to bluff all these optional bluffs. All else being equal, that should be the way you lean against a human. Combo draws that have a pair like that, they're value bluff hybrids. So they get called by worse, they get folds from better, and they become nutted really often. So yeah, solver does like it. It's not even that it likes them, it just sees the opportunity in firing money into the pot with them. There's a lot of good hands that can happen. So the good old semi-bluff from back in the day, right? 3s here. Put him on ace queen, yeah. Call. What do you think? B75? So you're going to call this with like all the pairs on the board, but with threes, you're not. All the pairs on the board, though, going to be fine. Queen 7, playing B100 check. I think you have to check, although I do against like really fit or fold players. You could just pick a smaller sizing if you want to bet that hand. It does like fold equity, checking eights. Ace 10, you can bet or check. Check on that roll, doesn't really matter. Sixes, you're going to check. Too much showdown to be turning that into a bluff there. Ace 9, you can you raise? I don't think so. I think it's like very close between call and fold actually. Two big cards here, I don't think you fold. I think ace 9 you probably can fold. Maybe you can raise. Like the raises are weird in this spot. The raises are really weird in this spot. Like there's so many hands here that can actually raise. Maybe not ace 9. Oh, it actually does 3% of the time. It is a straight mix. Call or fold. Ace king. I think you can raise this one. If you want to. No, probably just call actually. With the nut flush draw being the nut flush draw, not one to reopen. It's a common pattern. Overbet with king queen fold. So you can speed this up. What I'm doing right now is like speed drilling. Before I was like using my conscious mind trying to work stuff out. This is gross, but I doubt it's a pure fold. We do block a lot of bluffs with the 6 on this node though. 6-4, 6-3, even 6-5. 6-7! No, not 6-7. I can't bluff here. Can you raise with 2 overs? Absolutely, you can raise against smaller bets with 2 overs when you check back the flop. That happens a lot. Absolutely, you can, yeah. Solvers only see equity versus a range. Differentiating between made hands and draws is just our monkey brains trying to make sense of a complex situation. Yeah, in part, I agree. But solvers do understand that implied odds are a thing, right? So they favor draws more than made hands with the same amount of equity because of the implied odds of the draw. And the made hand not having that generally because it's like second pair. So what you're saying is mostly true, but not fully. I think you have to call this probably on a 6. I don't think this is a straight fold. Yeah, it's just a mix. Okay, if you straight fold that, you're just folding too often. In 3-bet pots, you can raise with 2 overs after you check back flop if they lead small on turn, because you do check back some over pairs in theory, and you have really good pair draws with king queen or something on 7-4-4 deuce. Right? Did I mention the bronze carrot's free, by the way, guys? It's free. Anyway, 10-9. Can you raise for value with this hand? Is a question. Pardon me. Can you go small raise? Can you? I actually don't know. I think you probably can. Yeah, I think they're leading quite mergy here. Apparently not. Okay, which means there was a low number, which is why I tried to do it. Let's see where the threshold is there then. It can't be too much above that, I don't think. Okay, so it's basically just that those suits I couldn't raise. Okay, solver. Sure. Jack 9 raising a bunch, 10-9 of other suits raising a bunch. Yeah, I don't really care about that. I'm okay with that raise at a low frequency. I think that's like a fine way to play. And against someone with 2 merged of a range, it's actually a really good way to play. So I'm okay with that. So when the solver tells me like red box, minimal EV loss, I'm always a bit skeptical. I'm like, really? Really, is it that bad? Overbet, you've got top pair. Can you fold? I don't think you can fold. You unblock a lot of bluffs here with a 5. Villain can't really bluff with a 5 in his hand here. A 5 of clubs, because he needs equity on this node, because he's the big blind, he's the range disadvantaged player. So therefore, Queen 5 is a really nice call. 100% call, yeah. And it's top pair, it blocks so much value and blocks all bluffs, and it's just really stable. Queen 10, you maybe can bet this, but it's probably trace, if anything. Yeah, trace. 10-8, you probably just want to raise here, always against a human. GT will do a sliver of call, I wouldn't bother with that. King Jack, probably just always checking this one. Yep. A6, I will probably... You probably can bet, you know? Because villain has a lot of pair plus draw you can get value from here. This is quite close, though. This is a bit thin. At B100, this is quite thin. I think you can, though. I think it's okay. Yeah, 24%. Okay, had a low roll. Queen Jack, checking this one. Very stable. Just double check it's never betting. 7-6. I think this is optional, actually. But I'm going to bet on a 4. I think it'll check this hand like 30% or something. 35% bet. 64% check. I was wrong. Check frequency is a lot higher than I thought. But yeah, it's going to be indifferent because hearts block hearts that call or raise you, and unblock air, and your opponent has a lot of air, and you basically want to be betting pure with your nut flushes here and your bolts, and with your weaker flushes, your investment ceiling's lower. You actually get check raised and you're losing sometimes in theory. Against the fish, you just want to bet the flush on the turn when checked too, I think. But good to see. Queen Jack. Fold. A7. I bet a lot here. It sounds not that high in Showdown. Really? Is it that high? Okay, it's a very minimal EV loss. Again, I'm skeptical that I can't bet that hand. I feel like it's low enough that I can. Let's see if I'm missing something, though. I forgot to look at the number there, though, which was silly. Very minimal EV loss with the 7 of spades. Never betting without it. Just bets with ace of spades. Okay, it's just a bit too... Not enough nut potential to compensate for betting the middle. It's just too middling. Okay, so slight polarization mistake by me. Very slight. Don't tell anyone, guys, that I made a polarization mistake. Please don't. Please don't tell anyone. That's like my whole thing is never making polarization mistakes, right? Don't tell anyone that I did it. Like, you didn't see this. No one saw this. It's fine. Okay, let's check this one. Jack 6, guys. I'm gonna put this one to you. What should I do with the Jack 6 of hearts? You guys know the drill by now. What should I do? Against a human. Your opponent is a human. You're on this delayed c-bet node. You can pot, you can check what's higher EV and why. Go. What's higher EV and why? With this hand in this spot, delayed c-bet, button big blind. What would you want to do here? Against a human, and why would you want to do it? You are only human? No, come on. Polarization mistakes, sir. They should be beneath me at this point. Shouldn't make them ever. You think check with Jack 6? Oh, I just saw we had a flush draw. That makes it really quite boring. Turn overfold, this bet? Yeah, exactly. Just always bet this hand. Just always bet this. Like solver mixes, but just bet. Against human, you just pot. The delayed c-bet pot mash is insanely good. It will get you out at 25 and I'll just check back flop and bet pot when they check the turn. Red line. Easy. Red line goes straight up. No problem at all. Red line up this way. Blue line. Meh. Green line up, right? It's weird because it's all inverted on my webcam. Bet higher EV because it just feels right. Yeah, I mean, you do have instincts about what's higher EV as a poker player. Like, before we had solvers and stuff, we had instincts that was a bet. If instincts and nines as a check. Like, we don't need a solver to tell us certain things. Okay, this is a really key one, guys. Facing overbet here. What is the range that overbet's like? Think about it. If your opponent's a reg, what are they overbetting here? 7s, you block that. 7-4, you block that. 10-7, you block that. Queen-7, you block that, right? So you got a good card there in the 7. What are they bluffing? 6-5, okay, 8-6 maybe, but yeah, probably 8-6 double belly buster. So 6 isn't the great card, but it's not that bad. And they're bluffing a load of Jack X, 9X, King X, right? Mostly. Humans fold about, yeah, it's not meant to be 50% Zen because it's a favorable node in theory, so it's meant to be like 60 something. I think it's about 78 or something, yeah. I had all this data. I've actually got it in Modern Master Plan. I can show you the slide, but I don't have it up right now. But it's something like, it's approaching 80, I'm pretty sure. So I actually think you should call this hand. I think it's probably a mix. Or is it pure? It might be a pure call, you know? Pair on the board. Like, think about the rest of your range. Okay, you have some gutter and King Jack here, that's good. But, like, your Jack 10 kind of sucks in this node. Like, I'd almost rather have 7-6. Yeah, Jack 7's definitely worse. Your 2 pair outs are much better when you've got 6 here than when you've got a Jack. I'm going to press call on a 54. No? Okay, you guys were right. I was wrong. It is a fold. It is a fold, guys. To that sizing. Maybe I overrate pair on the board a bit. Pair on the board is just so good, though. I can call 7-5, though, because the 6 is just a bit more negative, so the 5 is the straight mix. That's funny. Jack 6 is worse, EV-wise. A lot worse, actually. Yeah, Jack 6 is a terrible call. 6-5's not. Wait, what? No, it was 7-6 we had. Sorry. Of course, 6-5 is a call. 6-4 you can call. 7-5 you can call. 9-7 you can trace call. So I'm not that far off, at least. But yeah, more fold than I thought on that board. If you make that drier like queen 8, 7 deuce or something, it's probably just a pure call. How do you realize your equity on the river? So you realize your equity on the river in a few different ways. So equity turns into EV at a very high rate when you hit 2 pair of trips. That's the first thing. You have position, so every time your opponent gives up, and they give up a lot on the river, right? So if you look at this, right, they bet turn, you call, and you make the river a brick, like a deuce of spades. You can see that they actually give up. They check 52% of the time. So half the time they check. And some of those times you're losing, fair enough, because they've checked like top pair, but usually they are giving up when they check. If they check the river, your equity is realized by checking back. That's all you have to do, and it happens half the time. And your equity with a hand like 7-6, we can use hearts for comparison there, right? Your equity on the river is 34% of the time you're still winning. So you realize it like that by improving or by just getting the river in one piece. And that's why it's close. That's why with a slightly different kicker, it is actually okay to call, and it's only microscopically losing. If you never realize your equity because your opponent's over bluffing the turn, now you have to call turn and river, right? Not full turn. So if your opponent's over bluffing turn and river, you want to call both. If they're under bluffing turn, you want to full turn. And if you're not sure, it's not actually that bad to call turn, even though it said don't. It's quite close. Can I explain anything without looking at the sim? I'm using the sim to illustrate why, because you asked me a why question, but sure, I can pull up the other view if you like. But you asked me how can you realize equity. I'm showing you how when they check the river. I'm using the sim to prove it to you, because I don't think you think I'm good at cards, and I don't think you trust me if I just speak, but hey, there we go. Mr. Danke, there we go. I'm sorry I said you're dislikable, but you truly are. You are dislikable. And it's not my fault. It's not my fault, Mr. Danke. Explain it and then show the sim. Okay. I can do that. Show us you know what you're talking about. Show you that I know what you're talking about, yeah? I think that's what you mean. Okay, I can do that. Goes both ways, mate. Fair enough. Touche. Anyway, 10-7. I have the same feelings about you, I know. It's okay. Mutual dislike's fine. We'll mutually dislike each other. It's okay. Do you guys want to raise 10-7 on the turn here? Why are you still watching, though, by the way? I don't get why you're watching. Why do people who dislike me, like, you think I'm shit, and you dislike me and you're still watching? I've never really got that. Is it like a love to hate thing? Is it cathartic? I'm genuinely interested right now. I'm not even trolling you. I am legitimately interested in why you're watching. I find it fascinating. Human psychological thing. Like, I'm truly interested in this phenomenon, like why people stay. It must be like a cathartic love to hate. Otherwise, I'm confused. Maybe there's just nothing else to do. Nothing else good on the telly. Don't want to watch the snooker, no? Snooker's pretty boring, fair enough. Choice between this and the snooker, I choose this. Pete, just ignore it. I'm just taking a break, Yorgi. It's fine. I like to banter back sometimes. It's okay though. So I think this is, so villain's value range here is, and I'm not looking at the solver, right? I'm gonna guess like king queen plus. Let's say king queen plus, maybe queen jack. Actually, there's a lot of draws we can call with here. Maybe queen jack, maybe queen 9. And by the way, it's 1 point something x pot. It's not 2x pot. Maybe like queen 9, but that's probably a push. Or queen x of hearts or diamonds. Queen x of diamonds might even be more of value bet here due to blocker effects. So if that's their value range, we are ahead of a ton of that with 10-7. We block the biggest parts of it. We do lose to 3s, queen 10, offsuit. It's quite a lot of combos. This is close. Can we R to 56? Queen X of hearts. Not diamonds. You got me. Well done. I must be terrible at my job. Well done. You got me. You proved your entire case with that. You can go watch your Venom now. Cool. See you later. So let's call, yeah. I think that's right. It does raise sometimes with the smaller sizing. I think this is quite an overbluff spot, by the way, in population. And the reason for that is that draws are meant to check raise sometimes. Like, let's look at villain's turn strat here. Some of the draws are going to be pure leads, like the King X of diamonds and stuff. But some of the other ones are like King 9 or like doing a lot of check. King Jack doing a lot of check, right? So you can imagine, oh sorry, I'm not showing the solver. You can imagine King Jack going in that leading range really often. Like all the time, actually. And if you look at their value hands here, like Queen 10, it's meant to slow play a bunch of the time as well. So I think if you face this spot against a reg, they're probably going to be over bluffing by bluffing too many gutters and flush draws. Look at 6-5, right? Doesn't even bet when it's not a flush draw. Spot's really selective one. So I think they're going to be over bluffing this spot. Which means that it's tempting to raise small just to exploit the fact that they just have too many draws in their range. Hey Nicholas, what's up? How's it going? Shoving versus the overbet? I mean, it's not like ridiculous, I guess. Playing rivers will be difficult. That's not necessarily a reason to shove turn. It makes it feel better from our perspective. Solver doesn't care though, just suck it up, right? That's an interesting one. I think pure raise is good there against the human. If you face shove, I get it, guys. It sucks, right? You probably just have to go with it, but it's gross, especially against tight pools, passive pools, but you know what, it's fine. There's a lot to gain by raising there in terms of denial, because they just have too many draws and not enough good hands. I think it's more important on the river what we do with 10-7 in the turn. I think that's definitely true. I think there's way more EV swings on the river for sure. Okay, ace-6. I'm gonna fold. This is a great drill, by the way. If you're playing B200 check, you just want to drill this all the time. Can we raise eights? Is that too thin? I feel like it's a bit thin, right? Yeah. Ace-9 checking. So I would do this drill a lot if you're going to play this strategy. Checking, because you're playing B100. You play a lot of rivers. King 8, I think you can bet this. I don't think you have to bet this. This might be... Yeah, makes a mistake. I was going to say it's less bet than that with the 8 kicker. 4's got to be a pure fold, right? Oh my god, it mixes trace call. Unblocks bluffs when the unblockers are a factor. What can I say? This is going to do a lot of the late C bet. Is it? No, it's still quite high up actually on that board. That board's so bricky. It's not going to do much. Ace-9, probably just about pure check. Yeah. Jack-9, gonna raise a lot. I think you can slow play this hand actually with the 9 hearts. I do think like Jack-5 is a better raise than Jack-9 here, but still in a human domain I would raise against this always because it's so mergy. Solver pure calls, it's so gross. Solver's like so terrified of the bet 3-bet range. In real life, I don't think you want to slow play this node particularly. Like, they're not going to be low equity bluffing here. Call relies on low equity bluffing to make money to an extent. And they're just so merged. They have so many straights and 2-pair just doing this. And yeah, you don't want to raise. That's one way you can say no solver. This is Pile Solver, Nicholas. This is Pile Solver's trainer. This is the modern master plan solver. No, that's the course I'm going to make. I am making. I was thinking the same, Pete. If you don't like it, then go away. Mind you, I hate watching Eastie, but still do occasionally. It's like the algorithm suggests it. Sometimes we want to feel a particular feeling, and that doesn't need to be a positive one. Sometimes we just want to feel a certain way. Like get rid of a certain emotion, maybe channel something. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I think you always have to bet the nuts here. I refuse to accept otherwise solver. Now I'm not going to check half the time with this. Now I'm kind of playing as I would play against a human though. Actually, do you know what? Against really tight players and stuff, or like just regs, this is probably quite blood from a stone. A spot. I don't absolutely hate checking. I can see why it's a thing, but yeah. In real life, you want to fast play more of these hands. Check. I did quite a lot of bluffing here. In real life, you just bet this. I'm just doing real life stuff. It doesn't like these blockers. It wants to delay to river, but I don't care. In real life, you take the spot. Right, let's go back to solver mode though. You can train real life mode if you want, and then you can train silver mode. But you want to train a lot of silver mode just to give you a baseline of what should happen. Is this pure on the 8th turn? I think it won't be. Wow, it never bets on the 8th turn. That's so gross. I thought it would do some bet. Wow, it checks all the overpairs at B100. It only bets trips plus. That's so sick. Thinks the opponent's checking a lot of 8s. I see why, right? Their range is naturally very polarized here. I don't play B100 on this card. I play B50, by the way. I just don't have it in the sim. So I would never have this problem to solve in game, and it does make sense, but yeah. Pardon me. I want to learn what these weird raises are all about with queens. So you raise queens there, right? Let's try and get our head around what's actually happening when we raise queens in the sim. We raise queens, and it just folds a king a bunch of the time. A bunch more than humans do, probably. Although, do you know what? On that board, maybe they do. So queens is a hybrid. That's all. Queens is a hybrid. It's not 200 big blinds. Sorry, it's 200 chips. Regfish poker. This is a 1-2 structure. I know it's confusing because it's not how sims are these days, but this is the way my sims are. I bet this really frequently. Even in theory. I'm going to go back to theory mode now. God, it checks so often with so many of these hands. Does so much more delaying. Plays so many more rivers than I'm like naturally drawn to playing. I think this one's just trash, right? I'm going to fold this one pure. Okay. Right, I'm a solver. I don't have to bet this hand probably as a solver. I unblock a lot of river bluffs. I bet I can... bet as a solver, or it does bet always. I was going to say, like, I would be inclined to bet. I wonder if you've got, like, a worse 9, though. The investment ceiling's a bit lower. Yeah, so it doesn't always bet with, like, 9-8. Or Jack-9 or something, but with Ace-9, it's just the only one that's just too good. Too high in investment ceiling. Fair enough. That's kind of basic. I should have known that. Not all 9s, though. Just Ace-9. It's a pure bet, Jorge. Just Ace-9. But I bet this really often. I don't think it would quite be pure, though. Oh, wow. I'm really bad at the snowed on these boards. These wet boards are seriously weird. In theory. These are seriously weird spots. So Ace-7 on this board can bet. Just a weird suit thing going on where it just wants the heart. Or not the ace of spades. That's the sort of like meta thing that's to do with how they're building their checking range vis-a-vis spades, and it just doesn't really matter. It's all to do with like what they're constructing. So the strategy is to B100 or check on the flop, B100 or check on the turn. Not if it's paired or flush. Like, I just don't have the lower bets in here, but when it's paired or flush, I'm not going to be playing that way. Queen of Hearts, fairly low down hand. Optional, but high frequency bluff, probably. Why is that a pure check? Has that actually got more showdown than I think? God, I'm really bad at these high boards. I keep getting these high boards wrong. Wow, it only starts at like Queen 6, not Queen 9. Okay, that makes sense actually. Like, it's incredibly hard to hit that board. Okay. Misjudged the showdown value of that one. Another polarization mistake, guys. Yeah, it doesn't care in EV that much about the suits. It's just, it's enough to swing the strategy is the way to think about it. It's not that it's a giant EV loss. Ace high has some showdown here. We have no heart, no redraw, blocking folds. This feels like a pure check. Okay, we actually got one. King 8. This feels like it's a bit thin at B100. I would play B100 here, but it's not that thin actually. No, I think you can bet this. I think you can. Yeah, it's optional. Low bet frequency, but optional. Ace-6 with no heart. This feels like check is probably the play. It is a wetter board though, where the hand has less showdown. But yeah, it's check. Okay, ace-deuce. I feel like you can bet. Like, it's a really favorable situation. I don't know how often it's going to bet, but I feel like you can. Yeah, 68%. See, that it's really key to understand that it's not about having a redraw. You have an unblocker in the form of the deuce that's blocking the folds, and then you've got the silver card, and it's just enough in a favorable spot. 50 on straight turns, mostly B100 on higher boards, on delayed c-bet. On lower boards, yeah, like on 6-5-4 deuce and stuff, yeah. If I'm reopening at all, it's going to be B50. I don't think this is mandatory. Yeah, this is the thing to get in your head as well. It's like, it's not mandatory unless you've got a massively high investment ceiling, because they're meant to be slow playing, so it's just optional. And putting that in your check range does make you a bit of a nightmare, actually. You need to understand that, like, when it's really overfolded on the turn, it's not that bad to check king queen. It's fine, actually. It's good, because they're going to be overfolding turns so much and under having anything, basically. So checking and just giving a bit of rope there is fine. Call. Can this be a raise? This is where we need to be careful, guys, right? Before we just press call. Because isn't it the case that villain folds some queen 5 and some ace jack here? I think it is the case. So you probably can raise with this. Yeah, 6% of the time, but it is a hybrid. It is okay to raise with that. This hand strikes me as so unbelievably natural to bet with, but you probably don't have to. Yeah, only 40%. I thought it'd be higher, but yeah. You actually have some showdown there on a brick river, like not much. You're probably gonna bluff, right? On almost all river cards, you just delay your bluff. Okay, straight check this one. I think this is indifferent against B75. Or is it pure call? No, it's indifferent. Okay, good. This strikes me as a very frequent bet. Gutter, spade blocker, blocking raises. Yeah, it's pure. We actually found a pure bluff, guys. There we go. 10-9. No, I don't know about that, Yorgi. I think you underestimate how hard it is to get called from an overfolding pool there. Check will get you a bunch of money on river that you don't get on turn. It's not all about winning a giant pot. Sometimes it's just about getting them to bet when they've got a really weak range as well. So if your hand's not like a monster that's coolering the check raises and stuff, I don't think you have to reopen. The king queen, I actually like check. I actually prefer it. If that was a hybrid, I was gonna like literally throw my mug out the window through the glass. Because there's no way that's a hybrid. I think you can bet this and shoot a lot. Which you can also check though. Yeah. I think this is a B100. Is this a hybrid? I can make like Jack 5 fold, right? I can get called by 10-9. I can probably bet this. I can bet it. Nice. Okay, we're improving, guys. We are evolving. Right, this is a frequent bet. Maybe not 52, but quite often. 62. Okay, yeah, we're getting better, guys. We're getting better. I think you can... Like, the showdown of this hand on this board is not that high. It's not that high. You have an over. If you bet, again, go through the process. What calls? Like, King X, 10x, 9x, you got an over against those. It's not great, but you've got something, and then you have a lot of fold equity here. And do you get called by worse? Like ace 4 of hearts, like, raises you a bunch or leads a bunch? Not really. I think you bet this sometimes, so I think it's quite low down. It's 7 though. I don't know. I'm really not sure about this one. No, it's pure check. Okay, I'm not sure about that one. When I find one I'm not sure of, I always look it up afterwards. Okay, so it's just betting with a heart with that hand. A7 always gets me. I always forget it's like the fringe hand that like because with ace 5, right, you just bet anything, you don't care. Like the hand is just indifferent and it bluffs a lot. But with a7, it's like just slightly too much showdown unless you have that heart boosting the EV of bet. Basically, you boost the EV of bet harder with the heart than you boost the EV of check. So although both betting and checking are better with a heart than without, betting is more better with the heart than checking is. That makes sense. Bronze Couch's free, by the way. This is our free tier at Carrot Corner. If you like the way we teach the game theory first and then exploits, grab it. There's a bunch of stuff in there about setting up your poker career in the right way. Would definitely recommend. My friend just asked me on WhatsApp if I ever bought Crimson Desert. There's no way in hell I would play Crimson Desert. Like, the last thing I need to be doing. I can't even play like Hades 2 because I can't find the time to just do a couple of runs. I can't find the focus or the energy. You know that way? I have this weird thing about gaming. It's like a really weird, frustrating relationship where like I love the idea of being as into a game as I was when I was a kid. I grew up with an Atari ST, which is a bit like an Amiga. And I used to play games on it all the time, to the point of obsession. I used to play like dungeon crawlers. I used to play like all sorts of games, all different kinds of games, and I just loved it. Then I had a PS1, I was very similar. I had a PS2, and it was a bit harder to get into games, but I still liked games. And then as an adult, the last game I was fully into as an adult, to be totally honest with you, was Oblivion on the Xbox 360. Like, fully into it. And since the Steam era of gaming, I've bought games, and like I can get into them for a while if I've got loads of time off. Like when my son was born, I played a couple of games a bit. But have I been able to recapture that childhood wonder, that absolute absorption, that absolute like a cognitive lust for gaming? No, I've not been able to recapture it. I've been distracted, something pulls me away, I can just never really lose myself. It's like the outside world matters too much. And then I can't just like make the game my reality. Whereas when I was a kid, I was like, I knew I would have an outside world one day, but for now I was just a kid in a house and I had nothing to do, and it was a long ass day in the summer, and there was games, and that was me in the games, and that was it. That was life. And it was like, I didn't feel guilty about it. I didn't feel bad because I knew that one day I would be sat here talking to myself in a room behind two screens, and this would be my job. And I knew that. I didn't know that actually, but I knew that a life would start. And like, at some point, maybe I would have a family and a life, and it would all be okay then. But for now, I was like an 11-year-old, and there was nothing to do. So just game and just lose yourself. And I just wish I could do that for like 1 week now. I wish I could have like a holiday from my life where I just go back to being 12, and I'm just me and the PS1, you know? You ever feel that? What do you think, guys? 360 best console ever it was, right? GTO Plus, you have to run your own sim, so it's more of a... It's not like Wizard. I would draw the comparison between Pio and GTO Plus. What's a game I could get into as an adult with not much time that I could actually love? Can you guys think of one? Have you as an adult... Let me ask you this, right? Assuming you guys are adults, probably are. Hopefully you are watching this content. This is educational content for adults who want to get better at cards. So if you're an adult watching this, you know, what is a game, and you gamed when you were young? What have you found? And what games have you got into as an adult? And can you still do it? Or do you find it as difficult as I do? I can't play games since age 15, 34 now. Yeah, so you're the same as me. Love this crazy life. Kingdom Come 2 Deliverance. I mean, I tried Kingdom Come Deliverance 1, and it was way too narrative story driven. I just couldn't. Arc Raiders. What's Arc Raiders, Anton? What's Arc Raiders? See, I'm already wanting to Google it now. I can like progress a little bit in Hades too. Maybe I should do that. I don't know, man. Yeah, it's wild. I'd love to just be able... I used to get absorbed by the shittest games. Like, by today's standards, these games are like a joke, right? But they were like everything to me. They were like my world. No Rest for the Wicked. It zones you in the game. It's like a hack and slash, right? It's like a action RPG, like Diablo style game. Games that only adults play. I'm not really an MMO kind of guy though. Factorio was recommended to me. I used to play a lot of Civ 2, Civ 4, and Civ 6 more recently. And Civ 2, I completed shit tons of games. I beat it on deity a bunch of times. You get elephants and you win, right? Played a lot of Civ 2. Used to get really excited about coming home from school and playing Civ 2. Used to just picture it. It's like, I'm going to start a game in Spanish when I get home. I can't wait to start this game because I found Madrid. Still love that shit. Harvest Moon, talking about farming, tit for tat. That was another one I played a lot back in the day. I got absorbed by that. I used to play it all day, every day. It was my life. I was like proud of my farm. I identified with like the characters in the village. I cared. I didn't know what it was like to have a real life. I never had like a girlfriend. I was like 14. Didn't have a girlfriend. I was 16. Didn't know what it was like, so I went around giving gifts to women in a village and got married, and the game crashed because it was a bug on all PS1 copies, and it just went out like that. It was like, oh, by the way, when you achieve the aim of the game and settle down and try and have a family, it crashes. Little did I know that's what happens in real life too. It was good preparation, guys. Just kidding. Mostly, partially. Factorio is a 100-hour blast. Sounds good. Diablo 4 has got really... I've played Path of Exile. Wait. No, I have downloaded... I do have Path of Exile too. It was pretty busto when it first came out though. It was like about a year and a bit ago I played it. When my son was a baby. And I couldn't quite get into it. Yeah. It's hard to play games when you make them for a living. Too much for critical eye. The most recent was the Final Fantasy VII remake. Haven't picked up the second part yet though. I played a lot of Final Fantasy IX. I know it's like not a very loved one, but that's like my first love of Final Fantasy because it's the first one I ever played. I never played 7 or 8, and then I played 9 and 10, and that was it. That was it. But yeah, this is no way. Okay, Elden Ring. Not that I got into it as fully as I would have back in the day. See if Elden Ring existed when I was like 10. It's just so annoying to be the wrong person at the wrong time, you know? Like, if Elden Ring existed when I was 10, I think I would have been in some form of, like, euphoric game coma for, like, a year. Maybe that wouldn't be a good thing, but, like, it would have been really good for me. Like, I would have really enjoyed it. I would have played that game for, like, 1,000 hours. TFT, I have had real... Yeah, okay, I can play competitive, like, crack games like TFT. I can. That is an exception. I can get into TFT. I try not to because it feels quite hollow at the end of the day. Quite like you're just stuck in some hamster wheel of like your brain's being tricked. Like, are you really enjoying it? I don't know. Games are too stimulating after work. Yeah, maybe that's it. I'm just cooked after work, yeah. I play Bridge because like it's a bit slower pace. Like, you have some decisions and then you're dummy. Then it is really intense in key spots, but a lot of it's just like soothing and methodical. Skyrim's the game you spent the most hours in. Yeah, I spent quite a bit of time in Skyrim. More in Oblivion. I had like a bunch of Oblivion characters. I'd alternate between them, progressing them in the world and playing differently depending on who they were. Had a Khajiit that would like... He was like the most asocial, immoral moron character that would just like go into people's houses and murder them and take their stuff, and like he wouldn't even like... He was so feral, he'd like run along the roofs of cities, refused to walk on the ground. It's like a cat, basically. It's like, I'm gonna be a cat, a murderous cat in a world of humans. Slay the Spire 2, yep. Me and my wife played it for a bit. Couldn't really get into it. I mean, I got into Slay the Spire 1, kind of. Couldn't really get into... I've not played Ultima Online, no. Nope. Witcher 4, I mean, I tried Witcher... What was the one that was really big? Witcher 3? For some reason I didn't like it. I don't know why. What game do you have the most hours in? Probably like Civ 6 or Darkest Dungeon or something like that. Yeah, probably the games I have the most hours in. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap up in a minute. I'm just kind of winding down from that study session because it was quite a lot of study. Delayed CBET nodes, man. I'm going to try and get this right next time I play. I'm going to really focus on these for a bit longer and really try and take this B200 check, playing delayed CBET nodes, playing face and turn probe. I'm going to do this drill a bunch more because it's really, really helpful. I'm finding it really good for like reorienting myself. I did this a bunch when I was making Modern Master Plan, but I've not done it for quite a while now. So it's a good drill for sure. It's quite relaxing just doing it as well sometimes. I think let's check. It's too much showdown, right? Yeah. 8-6. I think you can... So you can get called by a load worse here. You can't really get any better at the fold, but still, like, you get a lot of good things that can happen. You get called by like 6-5 and stuff, but that's it. It's like hardly any combos. Wait, 4s and 5s and 3-4 and 3-5 you can get called by. You don't get better at the fold though. Yeah, I thought it was going to shout at me, but I thought I'd just press the button and see what happened. Yeah, so not quite a hybrid. Not quite. Just a bit too middling. Are there any hybrid pair plus straw hands on that board? Let's see. Yes. So if you have 6-4, then you can bet. You just need a lower card, a bit more redraw, and then you're betting all day, and then you're making like sevens fold, right? You're making, I mean, you're making sevens fold when you have 8-6 as well. But it's amazing how like on a knife edge it is, right? Like 6-8, just a bit too good as a check. Look at the check EV of 8-6, right? 8-0-0-1. Check EV of 6-4, 8.4, so it's more because it's a better hand, but the bet EV gets increased more by the fact that you have that extra straight draw implied odds stuff going on. And it's a slightly lower showdown value hand. Look at some of the pure bets here, like Queen 5. Just nothing, just Queen 5, right? Because it's not about having loads of equity. It's about the difference between bet and check. Then look at like how big the showdown region is. It extends to like King 10 of hearts. King 8, still showdown on that really hard to hit board, that low board. Can you use the strategy EP versus button? No, I wouldn't recommend it. EP versus big blind, yes, but then you do more checking. Generally, everything's thinner and lower EV because your range is stronger and that makes your hands worse at getting value. Check, because I wouldn't play B. Really? Piss off. I wouldn't play B100 there anyway, guys. I'd play B50 and I'd mix bet and check. I don't think this is a hybrid. Maybe it is. That's super hard, this B100 strategy on turn, man. King 10, Queen 10, Ace 3. Do these ever fold? Does Ace 3 ever fold if I B100? I don't think. Maybe? I don't think so. It does bet as a hybrid. Is a hybrid, guys. Oh, I wasn't showing you that hand. Sorry, my bad. So, at this hand, and I was like, can I bet this? I suspected maybe, but I didn't, and then you can. I want to start finding these more regularly. You can bet this, look. Because again, look at the hybrid properties of what's going on. Again, look at this. Let's try and get this into our heads, guys. Let's try and get this concept down, man. You bet 10-9. And villain never folds an ace. That's why I thought, but they do fold a bigger 10. A lot, because these are bad, not such good calls. Let's say not bad calls, but they're not good calls. But they do call you with an 8. So they fold a better 10, but they call you with an 8. So you have to wonder against a human, is that really so good? Maybe not. Like, maybe some of this stuff doesn't happen against a human. Like, a human doesn't know that Queen 10's a fold, but 8-7's a call, right? So you can see maybe why you don't do that against a human, but it makes perfect sense. Queen 5's a gutter, yeah, sure, but still. Oh, hey, Axel, how's it going? By the way, tomorrow afternoon, Axel and I are going to be hanging out. Don't know what our format's going to be yet, but we're going to be hanging out. Don't know what format we should bring you. What would you guys like to see? What should we do? What format do you want tomorrow, guys? Surely this doesn't bet. The hybrids of the spot really messed me up, man. 10-9, King 10. These hands are going to raise your lead a lot. They're not going to check call that much. Plus straws. Surely check. Yeah. Queen 8. Surely check. Surely. Yeah. Jack 10. That's got to be that's definitely a hybrid. No? How can that not be? Jack 10 of diamonds is. Like, I do make a queen fold. It doesn't fold very often with like queen 3, queen deuce. I thought it would fold more with those hands. That's a bit weird, to be honest. I thought it would fold more with those hands. Not a hybrid, okay. I don't think it's that bad to bet in real life. I feel like a bad queen will fold there a bunch. But, like, more than in the sim. King will obviously never fold. Yeah, maybe it's just not enough hybrid properties to this one. It's a bit too black and white with the 3 big cards, maybe. That's it. Yeah, I agree. Alright, sure, yeah. I think it's probably okay versus a human. More about river. Yeah, we could do some river stuff tomorrow for sure. Could drill some of that. Jack 9, really frequent bet. I think you can check this one as well, though. You can go either way. Silverland, straight mix. 9s. I wouldn't play this. I play B50, but whatever. I play B50, but yeah. I don't... Maybe a sliver, yeah. Oh, a lot of bet, okay. Yeah, just straight polarization, fine. More bet than I thought. No redraw, 3 Broadway, just gotta be check, right? Okay, I don't have the Ace of Hearts. I have the 6 side card. Probably check, but these ones are close. Okay, this one, yeah, these ones mess me right up, man. So Ace 6 is low enough that even the 6 of spades is okay. But with Ace 8, it wants the Ace of spades. Okay, so threshold was slightly off. Fine. I'm okay with that. Check or bet. Doesn't really matter with that hand. Straight mix. Frequent bet, surely this isn't too high up. 100% bet. Found a pure one, guys. Probably more check than bet with this one. Is this too high? No, I think we just start bluffing now. Probably. It's close. Probably do. No. Just off with my threshold there again. King 5. No. No king high. Wow. Not till we get down to like queen 9 and stuff. All king high checking. That's wild. Like, it makes sense actually. Yeah, I'm just a bit off there. It does make sense. Now I look at the threshold. The board's quite dry. Yeah, we can do river drills tomorrow, for sure. This is Pio Solver, guys. This is Pio Trainer. Yeah, cool. Very close with ace 9, I'd imagine. Very close to threshold. Yeah, okay, so it's just a couple of suits it doesn't do it with. I don't really care about that. It's only when it's exactly spades and hearts it doesn't, and it's not a big EV loss. Ace 6 will do it with all of them. Okay, so yeah, just threshold thing. I think pure check. I think that's enough showdown and just very unnutted. I think pure check. If you're playing B100 check, I'd play B50. Can go either way here. Can go either way here as well, I think. I don't think this is too high. Especially with ace of clubs, it's probably going to bet a lot. It's like a hybrid hand, right? That's a pure one. That's a call, always. That's two pair, probably mostly betting. I think it'll probably check sometimes, will it? Yeah. Pure check. Either way is probably okay here, honestly. Yep. Just trying to guess based on the RNG a bit here. And we're getting a bit better. Some of them are still confusing me. I think this is very frequent. 55%, not that frequent. Okay, always calling this. And what? That's so insane. I think I just blundered horribly with top set. Pure raises exactly aces. It's the only hand it raises. Suspicious. Was I showing the wrong window all along there? Oh, you want to see Russian cash tomorrow? Good day. We'll see what mood we're in. We'll see what mood we're in tomorrow. This sim is weird, man. Like, look at this sim. A lot of high equity draws in the opponent's range leading here. Not really leading a lot of ace-x anyway. And they're only leading high equity, so you do just fast play because they're high equity. You want to play some RNC 10? Show them how to destroy 10NL. I'm up for that. I'm up for that format. Whatever you want to do, my guy. That's got to be a check. Ace King. This has got to be quite a frequent bet. I don't think this is that high in Showdown here, actually. Okay. As long as it's like roughly like a normal mix, I don't need to care too much about it. I think very often betting this hand. Surely the King High is quite low showdown value in this node. 40% bet. Yeah, okay. That's quite high compared to global. Ace 10 is a bit good here, I think. I think this hand's just a bit good. Oh, it does actually bet. It does bet. The nuttiness of the redraw makes it worth it. Overcard, it's just a lot of improvability. Makes some better fold. Yeah, it seems close. Jack 8, this has got to be a hybrid, right? Can I make like... I don't make that many better pairs fold, actually. I make like 10-5 and stuff fold. King 10, things like this. King 9 probably are indifferent. If I bet this hand has a loaded redraw. No, not hybrid. Okay. 8-7's possibly a hybrid there. No, there really aren't many on that board. Okay. Hello, Mzucked. How's it going? 8 tabling Russian cash. I did 4 tables. I should do some 4 tabling just for fun at some point. Right, guys, I'm out here. I'm going to take a break and go do the rest of my day. This has been fun. That's how you build a base game. Pick a node, figure out base plan, train it lots, get it wrong lots, adjust your feel, then take the theory to the tables and ask what's different in real life. Theory first, practice second at Carrot Corner. Don't forget the Bronze Carrot's free. It's out. Go ahead and sign up right now. It'll take you a few seconds. Grab the Bronze Carrot, start watching 12 videos, organize your poker learning properly.